Oh, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Tom Bilyeu. Surprise! It's been me the whole time. It is Thursday. We're here and we don't fear because we're marriage and we're here to stay. Until 1 second ago, there was a car hanging outside of my place blasting Maroon 5, and I was worried that I was going to get demonetized via the street outside. But it sounds like that person has now driven away, so congrats, everybody. We did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. We did it, Taro. She's like, okay. Where's my dinner? Today is a fun one. I say that every time, like the most horrific stuff. It's like, this is so fun, you guys. Today is going to be a simple one. We don't have to go through a multitude of stories. I don't have to read. Thank God. We're just going to listen to Tom Bilyeu and Lisa Bilyeu break up over video. And do I really think they're going to break up? Hopefully. I like Lisa, to be honest. I'm a Lisa stan, and I stand by that. If I stand for anything, it's for Lisa Bilyeu. Kind of. She reminds me of Hailey Bieber. And there was I was looking for the term. I couldn't find it right before going live. But what Hailey Bieber is to Justin Bieber, Lisa Bilyeu is to Tom. Where I've heard the term on TikTok, but it's like she's exactly where she wants to be. People also often will say, free Hailey, or, release this woman from this horrible marriage. But women like bad marriages sometimes. Unfortunately, they do. That is a fact of life. And men too. They like bad marriages and they like to stay in them, even though it's very clear to everyone. There's a epidemic right now on TikTok of women making videos about horrible things their husbands are doing. Throwing tantrums, not caring about them, leaving trash on the floor for weeks. And the women always come to the husband's defense. It's like a phenomenon now where people are like, you just don't know how to take a joke. My husband's great. I made this horrifying TikTok about their behavior, but I'm not leaving them. And that's what I think is going on with Lisa. Because in my opinion, Lisa seems to be very sweet, caring, much more normal than a lot of these self-help idiots out there. However, I don't like that she's in the self-help personal development space. The only reason she gets to do anything at all is because her husband has provided this lifestyle for her, in my opinion. And she can just cosplay as, a guru, and she doesn't have to worry about actually hitting numbers or, resonating. But she's a great artist. And she is who she is, and I don't think she follows trends as much as some people do. She's kind of quirky and unique, and I like her for that. But I don't think Tom deserves her, if that makes sense. He is self-focused, selfish, and I hate to see it. But let's see what Lisa has to say about this. But first, just to recap who these people are. If you don't know who Tom Bilyeu is or Lisa Bilyeu, you're lucky. You're so lucky, you. You live under a rock, don't ya? Don't ya know? Also,
we are now live, mofos.
Tom recently kind of went semi-viral, I think on Instagram, for his hot take, which I need the full context, but what I've seen is only like a small clip. But he is saying, you need to have a really good excuse if you're not going to have kids. And this is coming from a man who doesn't have kids. So what's your excuse, dude? Because you need to make YouTube videos, so you don't have time. You have $20 zillion, and yet you can't have kids because of what? And again, I'm not saying anyone should have kids, but he's saying it, and he doesn't have them. The irony, the hypocrisy. Anyways, here's that clip so we can just get a little preview of Tommy Boy here.
Going to have kids, you better have a damn good reason. And I don't have kids, but I'm hyper aware that I have to account for that because it's what nature wants me to do. And so if I'm not going to do it, then I better find what the thing is that's going to give me meaning and purpose and all of that. If you're not going to have kids, you better have a...
So there you go. That's his hot take. And he also is infamous for a TikTok where he said, this is a great business exercise if you're a parent. You have to be able to think about if you're hanging off the edge and you have two kids hanging on one arm and you have to pick which one you have to let go of. You must make a decision or else you can't be a really successful business owner. You have to make definitive choices about which child you like more and which one you'd kill in a survival scenario. It's like, are you on your meds, dude? Like, why are you saying these things as a non-parent? Why are you coming up with these scenarios about who should have children, who shouldn't have children, which child should you kill off in a hypothetical scenario so you can run a business better? He's just all over the place. He used to, so he got lucky, in my opinion. Now, I say that kind of facetiously, I suppose, because I do think he has some talent, and there is luck, but there is also hard work and dedication and devotion. I don't think that he didn't do that. But with Quest Nutrition, I believe he got lucky. He was around the right people at the right time. They brought him in to be one of the founders of the company. He was doing their marketing. I believe he either left on bad terms or got fired over time. I have a theory on that, but that's just my opinion. I don't know anything special, but just doing some research back in the day, it seemed like he didn't leave on great terms. But that's his claim to fame, that he started Quest Nutrition and then brought Lisa in to help with the beginning stages of this company. As far as I know, she was never a shareholder or an owner or a founder herself. She was just the wife of Tom, but she also claims to be, or she used to, co-founder of Quest Nutrition, which I don't know if that's entirely true either. But she used to be a stay-at-home girlfriend or stay-at-home wife. And she had to put Tom's clothes out for him every morning and cook his meals and, give him a baby massage with baby powder, because he's a baby. And that was her life. And then she wanted children. I guess he didn't want children, is my understanding. And then she decided to, okay, I accept that. I will now work with you as a fellow girl boss, motivational speaker. So that's their history. They've been together a long time. He technically was her teacher. However, it was in college at a film school in LA. That's part of their lore, that she wanted to be in film. He was in film at one point. They actually did I don't know if actually Lisa was involved, but he did some sort of movie at some point about cops, and I don't know. Didn't go anywhere. It was a very low budget movie. But when that didn't work out, then he got in the Quest Nutrition space. Anyways, so then he left Quest Nutrition. He was doing a similar vibe interview series for the company back 10, 15 years ago. And when he left, he then took that concept and moved it to YouTube. It was called Impact Theory. It was very, very popular back in the heyday of hustle culture mentality. Dave Hollis was on the show. Jay Shetty was on the show. Ed Millett. The whole gambit of Rachel was on the show. Mel Robbins, I believe, was on the show. Every single person we've ever spoken about on this channel has most likely been on Impact Theory. Also, this is a little bit of lore. If you watch Selling Sunset, I think it's the first season, that $20 million mansion that they're having trouble selling, he ends up buying it. So he's a very rich person. Lisa is a very rich person as a result of Tom's wealth, in my opinion. But as of late, he has pivoted away from the self-help, motivational, rah, tell me your biohacking tips. And now he's doing political style stuff. And that's sort of what we're going to be talking about in this video today that we're going to watch between him and his wife, because he identifies now, as far as I understand, as a Republican who has voted for Trump. I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually kind of surprised that Lisa is not just going along with that openly and freely. And I think she's backed into a corner a little bit because her whole platform is supporting women. And it's very hard to say with a straight face, even though many people do, that voting for Trump was a vote for supporting women. Okay, hot take, I know. But now he's doing kind of clickbait stuff like this, and the views are way lower than they used to be. He used to get millions every interview. Now these are way lower, but To be fair, all self-help content, except for Mel Robbins and Jay Shetty, has dropped significantly in the last couple of years. Thank God. Okay, so he's got the era is over. The global world order is collapsing. He's got, in this thumbnail, interesting, they are erasing us. Who's us? Tom Bilyeu. And he's got the censoring tape, even though he's got a million videos a day. He does. No shots fired. The secret war of the US dollar. American dream is dead. Well, he's not wrong there. The rug pull. Civil war begins. Dalio sounded alarm. The bank killer. 75% chance of war. The #1 relationship killer. This will end badly. Cold War has begun. The empire's back. This means war. Okay, so you can tell he's red-pilled, and he said that before. He's famous also for, I say famous, he's famous in my brain for saying The Matrix, or wearing a t-shirt that says The Matrix was a documentary. Okay, dude, like just take your foot off the gas and go home. Just enjoy your money, please, for the love of God. Shut up. Anyway, so he's committed to the unbiased pursuit of the truth. He approaches the most important issues in world affairs, finance, AI, and future tech, politics, and mindset by breaking these complex topics into their fundamental elements. By doing so, and by connecting with some of the brightest minds of our time, he helps the audience develop a useful framework for how the world really works. Right. Tom Bilyeu. Lucky millionaire. It's going to teach us. Also, here I found this from 3 hours ago. It's got 180 likes. His engagement has tanked on Instagram. Confirmed. He also got involved in a crypto thing. He was so heavily into crypto, and he was like putting all of his energy into that, going to conferences. He started a company, Project Kaizen, and he was selling coins, and they had one with Christmas characters, and he was doing all the crypto stuff you can do. Crickets. Don't know what happened to that. I guess it crashed. He doesn't want to talk about it. Anyways, this is what he said. He's so cocky and he's so full of shit. It's funny. This is his, if I lost everything. Again, this man has like, I think at one point at least he had like $100 million. Like at least. So if he just got, went from 100 million to nothing, this is what he would do. Okay. If I lost everything and had to rebuild from $0, which I think the $sign should be in front of the zero. Am I wrong? I don't know when that changed. Here's my 90-day AI playbook. Okay. The problem. Most people, are we Rachel Hollis here? Most people would update LinkedIn and mass apply for jobs. I'd build a business that doesn't need a boss. Oh, he's so smart. Have you ever thought of building a business? Have you ever thought of not having a job? So how are you eating on day 1 through 89 while you're starting this business? Oh, he doesn't. Don't worry about that. He doesn't need food like the rest of us. Make AI find your unfair advantage. Feed your resume, past projects, and recommendations into Claude or ChatGPT. Prompt. Identify my 5 highest value skills by market demand. For each, who pays for this? What problem it solves? Pays for this? What problem it solves? Huh? You double it? And what a $2,000 to $5,000 offer looks like. Okay, so just tell ChatGPT, figure it out for me, please. Then you're going to validate before you build anything. Skip the website, skip the logo, go straight to the money. Yeah, she's out. Taro's out. She's like, all right, this has crossed the line. Come here. Come here, little girlie. Want to see a cute toy? This is Tom Bilyeu's toy. Catnip bandit. Okay, this is when he goes to prison for SEC violations. Catchy. Okay. So no logo, no website. Just go straight for the money. Get the investors' money, you idiots. Come on. This is so easy. People who are poor are just not trying hard enough. Prompt. Write 10 outreach messages. Lead with their pain point. Position my skill as the fix. End with a low friction next step. 50 messages, no replies. The offer is wrong, not you. Then, okay, also, he's not eating for weeks. This is week 2. He hasn't made $1 yet, so he's just gonna starve. He's starved, but water's free. in some places. So he's able to drink, but now his body fat index is 1% at this point. But we're going to trudge through. Week 3 to 4. Turn one client into a system. Stop trading time for money. Start selling a repeatable process. Prompt, create, onboarding questionnaire, templated deliverable I can customize in 2 hours. Results doc that proves ROI. Make it reusable for 10 clients. This is a fantasy of a psychotic, out of touch multimillionaire. This post right here. And I'm glad it only has 183 likes in 3 hours. Like, you can't even get 200 people to like your post with almost 2 million followers. You ain't gonna fix your $0 to $1 million month, I'm sorry to say, in 90 days. Thank you to Sammy the Mannix. Thank you, Sammy the Mannix. Finally catching a live stream. You look lovely. Thank you. You know why I took some extra time today to gussy up a little bit? I was watching some of my old videos. And I was like, whoa, I was depressed. Whoa, things were not going well in that brain of mine. Not that I think I looked horribly ugly, but I just was not trying whatsoever. And it's so funny. When I met Camellia from YouTube in Europe for the first time, she was shocked that I had normal clothes. I mean, I was going on a trip, so I think people typically don't wear what they would wear at home. But she's like, I was expecting to wear big t-shirts and sweatpants. I'm like, I've misled everyone. That's all I wear. Because I actually wear sweaters sometimes. It is shocking. I know. Anyways, thank you so much, Sammy, the Mannix.
What up, homie?
This is also.
I was a waitress at Denny's.
Did you know that?
I'm spending too much time working, too much time giving.
I am getting emotional right now.
That's me.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. Thanks, Sammy. Okay. So anyways, so you're supposed to then make a pipeline that runs without you. 1 hour on Sunday, clients finding you all week. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Then use AI to 3x your rates, find more clients. Bullshit, bullshit. Then, okay, here's the math, guys. Here's the math. You just put it in your calculator and then it becomes true. $3,000 a month times 4 clients equals a salary. $8,000 a month times 4 clients equals freedom. Same clients, bigger offer. What is this business? What is his offerings? What is he actually doing? We don't know because it's not real. Okay? The leverage isn't the AI. It's that most people will read this, think that's smart, and never do anything. The ones who start have almost no competition. I built this entire playbook into a free custom GPT. It walks you through validating your idea, building your offer, and going from 0 to launch. Comment GPT. So now I need to get your GPT to tell my GPT what my offering should be that I'm going to sell and email to people and clients who are going to give me thousands of dollars. Okay, these people say, thank you, GPT, GPT, GPT. I need it. Give me the millions without working for it. I went from 0 to 1 million in my brain. I deserve it all. Okay, anyways, so that's what he's up to, spewing nonsense on the internet with no real good results. Like I said, his engagement is abysmal. 600, 109 from 4 days ago. You have 1.9 million followers. Something is wrong with your content. Okay, give me a break. Anyways, so are we hearing the music outside? The guy's back or the woman's back. I don't know. Maybe I'm being sexist. That women can drive. Did I know that? No, apparently not. Anyways, okay, here's the opener. It kind of starts flashy, but there's music. They have different religions. He voted for Trump. She doesn't like that, which is good. Okay, in my opinion. And this doesn't have 15,000 views. Also horrible. She's got like millions of subscribers. What's going on with their channel? No one cares anymore? True. Okay, anyways, this is what I have to say.
I'm gonna smash your phone.
Okay, in case anyone was wondering, let me pull up the chat. Hold on.
I'm Greek Orthodox.
So we get right into it, by the way. Right into the religion talk. So she's Greek Orthodox, and their channel is atheist. So, which I'm kind of surprised about. He's soon gonna be Christian, just like Russell Brand. He's headed that way. Okay, here we go.
you're an atheist. I'm a feminist and you're a traditionalist. On paper, we literally are a disaster. But baby, here we are happily married for 23 years. But then you went and voted for Trump and the shit hit the frickin' fan. Friends stopped speaking to me, fans unsubscribed, and the hate just came flooding in. And here is just one. Your platform is about women's empowerment and your husband is voting for frickin' Donald Trump, a man who abused women and is attempting to roll back our rights.
This is my comment. Just kidding. Hate comment. Now, this is labeled as a hate comment. Is this not a literal, legit concern from a fan of yours? It is labeled hate. It's not fair. This person is expressing their opinion as a fan of yours. Why are we automatically labeling it hate comment? This is a hate comment. This seems very valid to me.
Do you support your husband's beliefs? Are you a hypocrite, Lisa? So let's actually just start with the hypocrisy. Yes. How can you love me, support my fight against injustice for women, say that you will do anything to protect me, and still vote for the man who thinks it's okay to grab a woman by the pussy?
Yeah.
Great question, Lisa. The answer is he doesn't actually believe those things. He doesn't actually have your back. He actually has his own self-interest at the forefront of his life. That's the answer, in my opinion.
So you came to me and said, hey, listen, this really bothers me. Why would you do this? And I said, well, tell me what actually bothers you. Because if you think that I just brush off that he sexually assaulted women, I certainly do not. So
you certainly do, because you thought it was okay to vote for him anyways. So I guess you did brush it off, actually.
Oh, voting for him was not me saying that I condone that behavior, that I think it's okay, that I don't recognize the trauma that that kind of thing causes many people. It's me saying,
I don't care, though. At the end of the day, I don't care.
That when I'm given two horrible choices, I have to have a North Star that I'm going towards. For me, I believe America is in the middle of a crisis. I believe that history speaks very clearly that in these moments, more often than not, the country will break bad. And when a country breaks bad, it's not a recession, it's not even a depression, it's often 100 years of being backwards. You look at what happened to China, they call themselves the Middle Kingdom, and then they go through what they call 100 years of humiliation. 45 million people starved to death, tens of millions of people killed in the Cultural Revolution in my lifetime. You look at a nation like Argentina, was once, I think, the fourth richest economy in the world.
What's the Cultural Revolution? Am I dumb? I don't know what that is. Hundreds of millions of people were killed in the Cultural Revolution? I'm unaware of that.
So the policies that I saw being presented on one side historically have led to famine and death on a scale that we cannot wrap our heads around.
As in what the Democrats.
Democracy? Okay. Yeah, it's so right. We should have a fascist government then instead, for sure, Tom.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it about the Democrats. It is an ideology that's inherent to the human mind.
Sure, but I think it's super important. I want to really ground this again. You voted for a man.
Yep.
Because this is about who was up for election. You voted for a man that said it's okay to grab a woman by. Now, let me just actually rephrase it. How would you feel if Donald Trump wasn't Donald Trump and he was a regular guy and he walked past me and he thought it was okay to do that to me?
So
I wouldn't give a shit, babe, because I don't care. Because if he gave me $100, I would prefer to have that than anything else. Wild Sarah, welcome. Thank you for joining. Wild Sarah just joined the membership. Hey, welcome.
I need attention. I need help.
That's you. Just kidding.
I'm proud to be proud of you.
That's me. Okay. That watch, man. Whew. I'm going to look that up. Let's see how much this watch costs. Okay.
I'll give you a breakdown of how I think about this. The most important thing that we can do right now is secure our economic future for like ours being America. That will have more positive consequences, or if we fail to do it, more negative consequences than having a moral monster in the office. So I read the situation through that lens. I don't expect everybody to agree, but my worldview is that everything, and I really do mean everything, is downstream of economics. Societal structure is downstream of economics. You mess with economics, you mess with societal structure, everybody's at risk for a whole lot worse than a moral monster in the White House. So,
okay, justifying unjustifiable actions, in my opinion, and not answering the question that she asked. Well, how would you feel if a regular guy said that to me? He's like, well, I only care about downstream economics, which is another way to say trickle down economics, which has never worked historically, ever. Here's the watch. Mr. Daddy's watch. This looks like the watch, right? It's only $400, I say, only. It's a man's watch, and this will come up later in this interview. He says definitively he does not want to date or marry a woman, yet your wife's got a Mr. Daddy watch, so I don't know. Just an interesting concept. Unless this is like based on this watch, maybe there's a real luxury version. This is the fake version, but I really like men's Mr. Daddy 2.0 watch as a name for a watch. If I was to get a watch, I would get that one too. Good taste, Lisa. Okay.
I cannot help but think through the problem through the lens of historically understanding both economics and what happens in countries that fail.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, he's explaining, and I won't even say mansplain, which is what it is, but he's explaining that he, unlike his wife, really looked at the real problem and the real issues and has her best interest at heart, actually. So she's a dumb idiot in his mind, and he's done the research historically. He understands actually what's going on. Okay, got it.
I highly encourage people to know what their North Star is. My North Star is
myself.
The stability of the middle class.
Yeah.
When I looked at the two choices that I had a guy who was clearly a moral problem. I despise the way that he talks about women. I know he said it. I've heard it with my own ears. I was mortified, could not bring myself to vote for him the first time, was just absolutely appalled. And then I saw what happened under 4 years of Biden, which we can go into as much as you want, but you literally had the country being run by somebody who was senile, which tells you he's not running the country. So then the question becomes, who was running the country? Do you know what they named themselves? Self-referenced. They called themselves the Politburo. That is the name of a communist organization, and I know what happens in communism. So
he knows. He looked it up on imbiased.com. He understands. And again, like, is he some sort of scholar here? I don't know. Justifying a million different ways. It doesn't make it better. Whatever you say, Tom.
I think that is the right thing to be more afraid of than what Trump represents.
This was one of these things that was really hard for me to talk about. It's the first time we're talking in public about it. I've had a lot of freaking backlash. And
it's always the women who suffer. It's her that's getting the backlash because he's going to get backlash and doesn't care. And she's going to get it and it's going to affect her brand, but whatever.
Interesting is I was very secure in your response because we'd spoken about it so much and I know your value system. If you were like, well, what's the problem? Yeah, he said grab women by the pussy. Why is that a problem for you?
Right.
That would have become a problem between me and you because your value system doesn't align with me. But once we'd had the discussion, I knew your North Star. And then when you announced it, I got so much hate, babe.
Yeah.
Like it breaks my heart. And I started to allow other people's opinions to penetrate how I thought and how I was seeing you.
You should have done that more because I think you should see clearly that this guy is not good enough for you. Escape, I say.
I've been an alpha female.
I don't know. Women, I go back and forth because this is one of those complicated issues where it's like, are you and I say you, am I infantilizing women as a whole by telling her to leave him? And that she's not a grown woman making her own choices too. And I say, yes, I am doing that. So that's wrong and I shouldn't do that. Stop it, me. I need to infantilize myself. Sorry. Lisa, you can do whatever you want.
And that becomes
wild.
And that becomes very dangerous. So the next step, because I want to make sure that we tie everything together, the next step was I came to you and you asked me, please, babe, let me know exactly what it is that you're worried about, what it is that rubs you the wrong way.
Also, what you think I'm voting for.
Oh, yes, that's such a good point. Because I extrapolate, if you voted for this person, it must mean that you agree with them.
It must mean that he doesn't care enough about those issues to have it weigh against what he thinks is important, which is his money. That's a fair judgment of him.
And I would imagine in your head, you have very specific things. Like you agree with him on abortion. You agree with him on how to treat a woman.
So that,
none of which are true.
Exactly. And so, thank you. So when you said to me, let's go through all the things that really bother you and let's talk about it. And I think that allowed us to get aligned, communicate, and be on the same page, and for me to hear you out. And so you mentioned abortion. So I'd love to actually talk about that, because that was one of the things that I said. And I'm just going to read, I got so many hate comments, babe. Sure. Now, just remember, it was purely because you voted for Trump that people were throwing hate at me, saying that I must agree. So
well, it is hypocritical, because you have a platform that is, she claims, I could read her bio, supporting women. Okay. Founder and co-host of Women of Impact. Okay, let's see what Women of Impact says. What's the purpose of it? Real women, real superheroes, real impact. Founder and host, presented by Impact Theory. Okay, I guess she's not making any claims. Never mind. I was going to say, helping women be badass bitches like me. Getting haircuts that I approve of. But I think in the past, my understanding of her platform was uplifting women, supporting women, trying to find the strongest women, the women who are entrepreneurs and radically confident in themselves. That is at odds with the president and what he stands for. And to have a husband who is sponsoring your show and presenting the show, it is hypocritical. It is fair for people to go, what? How can you be both things? I think it's a fair question, obviously.
So I pulled another horrendous comment, and this was about abortion. And they said, you can't be an independent woman when your rights are governed and your body is restricted by the government.
How is that a hate comment? What are you talking about? That is do you love debate or do you not? Do you love interviewing like multiple viewpoints, or do you not? Hate comment is so funny. You can't be an independent woman when your rights to govern your body are restricted by the government. Wow, hate comment against Lisa specifically. What an unfair question that is. What are you talking about?
That really bothered me, because I think it's so important for a woman to be able to make decisions on her own. And I'm just going to say it. When I was 18, I had an abortion, and I've never said that. But I've been triggered a lot. And when it first happened when I was younger, I had a lot of shame around it. And you know that when we first met, I had so much shame around that. I never told anybody. I couldn't even say the words out loud. I've gotten to a point now where I knew it was the right decision, very comfortable with it.
And now your husband is voting for somebody that would have retroactively, if this was happening when you were 18, would have prevented you from having that choice. So, any thoughts?
But when my husband then votes for someone who thinks that the abortion right should be taken away, that really personally freaking stung.
Yeah.
So that was one that I came to you and I said, how can you support a man who thinks that it's okay to take rights away from women's and their bodies?
Great question, Lisa. I can't wait to hear Tom, his foolery, literally. Tom's foolery. We should make a segment. But before we hear his rebuttal, some guy 000001, thank you so much. Some guy says, I became a citizen in late 2024 and vote against Republicans every time with pride and confidence. Fuck Tom B and his imaginary communism. Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Jeez, this is so good.
No big deal.
That's Tom. That's what he's going to say to this answer. No big deal. What you just said was from a place of, emotion and personal conviction and a reason. And this is your wife sitting in front of you saying, this would have affected me very deeply, very closely in my life. This is a person and a party and, well, I don't even know what party, they're split right now, but this is a administration that believes that I shouldn't have had that right. How do you respond?
Mic drop, homie.
And he's going to have nothing really good to say, I believe.
This is gold, straight up.
This is not actually gold, straight up.
She's savage.
I'm liking Lisa even more again. But then she'll say something like this and then go, oh, I love you, babe. And then I'm like, okay, back to square one.
Don't you dare get married.
That's what Tom would have said. Okay, thank you, some guy. All right. Okay, now she's going to do before he responds, she's going to do an ad, I'm assuming.
All right, we'll be right back with my hubby, Tom Bilyeu. But just real quick, if you've ever gotten value from a single episode of Women of Impact.
No. Sorry, I only support people who divorce their husbands over voting.
So
Sorry.
Okay, so here's where people really have to look at what's going on. So that decision was not about whether abortion should be legal or not. That decision was whether it should be forcibly made legal and available at the federal level or whether it should be pushed down to the states. I think if you actually...
Okay, good. Oh, yes, that's what it was about. Totally. Lisa, you misinterpreted it, you dumb bitch. That's what he's saying. It actually is a states' rights issue. Yes, that's what it is. So for everyone else other than these two who have, again, multi-millions of dollars, it's irrelevant if you can't get it in your state. It's irrelevant. Don't think about that. Anyways, okay. Go on, spewing your bullshit.
Ask Trump what he thinks. He just is going to do what he needs to do to get elected. So what he needed to do to get elected was to push it back to the states' rights. For me, leaving it at the federal level, great, right idea, nice and easy, but that is not how politics works. That's not how governance works. Everybody gives something up to get elected.
Wow, that makes so much sense, Tom. Yeah, you're right. It's just the way it works. You have to lie. So just like whatever you need to justify to be able to make sure that your worldview stays intact, that's what you need to do. Yeah.
What you need to understand about me is I despise politicians. I think they are essentially universally fake. They will say and do anything to get elected and stay in power. And yet you're in a system where that's better than anarchy, not as in chaos. I mean, anarchy as in the political philosophy of anarchy. So when you look at the system that we have, it is a terrible system, but it's better than every other system. And so
for me specifically, because I've benefited greatly from it.
Until people look at me and understand, I'm somebody that gets that life is purely trade-offs. There are no wonderful solutions. You're always giving something up to get something that you care about more.
What did you give up, Tom? What did you actually give up? What did you give up at all, ever?
And if somebody understands me through the lens of, I legitimately look at the world that we're living in right now, and I say, what's the thing that matters? It is economics. And if people do not understand the catastrophe, read the book, Red Famine. It is a true story about what happened.
Stalin's War on Ukraine. This is the book we need to read to understand abortion rights are not important for women at all, actually. It's more, economy is more important than women having the right to choose. Got it. This is on Women of Impact. This is on a YouTube channel called Women of Impact, okay?
In Soviet Russia, where I listen to books when I fall asleep. You well know, but your audience doesn't. And it is the first book I couldn't read as I fell asleep because I once woke up to the story of a woman boiling and eating her 7-year-old daughter. And I was like,
oh, so it's kind of like worse than an abortion, actually, Lisa. Did you know that actually I read a book once where there was something worse than an abortion? A woman not having money, so she had to eat her child? You ever thought about that? You should take back what you said, you horrible bitch. Once again, that's his thoughts to her.
Yep, I can't do this. That's where things go when economics break down and people just don't understand. 45 million people starved to death in China, okay? In the 60s. This is not like forever ago. So these things have consequences.
Tom, okay.
In one of those moments. And I understand people don't want us to be in one of those moments. And I am not saying that people are going to be eating their kids tomorrow. That is not what I'm saying.
Oh, good.
What I'm saying is when you start making these decisions, they have consequences. And
I just don't see the evidence of this. I don't see the evidence of Kamala Harris getting in office and then 40 million people are boiling their children. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. This is like so extreme. And to see his YouTube feed, the content he creates, he has obviously gone off the deep end in an extreme way. It's just so ridiculous that this is supposed to be a real argument.
Every empire before America has fallen. Every single one. So what are the odds that America makes it forever? 0. So I'm just saying.
So what's the point? What's the point then? Vote for someone you agree with. then.
We're at an inflection point where all those other things matter. This is all a game of trade-offs, and I've got my eye on one prize. The middle class has to be thriving. If the middle class doesn't have freedom of speech, if the middle class isn't doing well, if the middle class life expectancies are declining, we have real problems. Those are real. Right now, we are going in the wrong direction on those metrics.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Who's in office right now, Tom? Who's in office right now? You didn't fix it on day one?
And so I wasn't voting for all the things that people think I'm voting for.
Yes, you
Those
are. You're voting for those too, because it's all in one package deal, bro. Sorry.
My nose, understanding trade-offs, and just saying it sucks that that's the package that it comes in, but the other package takes a much faster step towards catastrophe.
Because I know you, there's so much heart around that. Like when you're telling me those stories, and I do hate you telling me the stories of these horrific things that happen because I can't sleep at night. But to me, it showed me where your heart is. Now, on my part is I can't live in a city or a state that doesn't allow abortions. Thankfully, didn't have the worst case scenario. But when you hear these stories of women who get raped and they end up getting pregnant and you still can't have an abortion, like that crosses the line for me on so many personal freaking levels that I can't get down with it. So in hearing your opinion, knowing that it's not that you think that, yes, abortion is terrible, it's that it's the sacrifice that you're willing to do for.
Tom's willing to sacrifice abortion for us. Oh, he's so giving. Oh, man. He is so... Ugh.
I have dyslexia so bad.
I'm gonna stomp you. I like winning more than I like sitting on the beach.
Tom is willing to do that for us, ladies. We're so grateful and lucky.
Or the middle class, because of how you see the world. I completely understood, and I wasn't going to try and change your mind. And I felt like the same was for me. You weren't trying to tell me that it doesn't matter. You weren't trying to convince me that I shouldn't care about that.
It isn't that I think it doesn't matter. I think it does matter. So all of this stuff falls into a hierarchy. I do not trust myself to be right all the time. So I want to cast my vote. I want to be able to make my voice heard. I want to be able to argue for what I think is right. And then I want people to make up their own minds. I understand how fallible humans are, and I am a human, and therefore I am fallible. So given that, whenever we're talking about something where it's just, no, we're just gonna let people vote, fine. I will stand by whatever the vote ends up being. Whereas what I hear from you and what I hear from many other people is a belief that you think you are so right that no matter what, people just need to adhere to this. Because remember, what was actually being decided is to let the states vote. That's it. So it was not saying abortion is illegal. It was saying the states now get to decide.
Okay, but you also know, because you're not a complete idiotic man, well, actually you are, but okay, he's not living under a rock, that will mean that some states will not have access. And how does that world look for people who cannot afford to move to another state because they want that right? That was allowed for women for decades. Okay.
Some states said it's illegal. Other states said, no, it's good. So I like a representative democracy. I like that there are checks and balances. I like...
Again, it's like, and this is, I forget who said it, but it was a similar question that came up on, on one of these podcasts. It was like, so if you believe that that's how you want to run the government for real, what if Alabama wanted to have slavery and everyone that, 51% or whatever they decided was, allowed to vote and said, yes, we want them. And the majority voted, you would be okay with that. That is what you want. And it was like, well, and it wasn't Tom wasn't on this podcast, but it was two other people. And she was like, well, no, I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I do think so. Okay, so you think slavery should be okay as long as the states want it? That is literally the same question, because if you're saying, well, it's not my backyard, not my worry, I'm worried about the economy. It's like, okay, but someone's got to worry about that. Your wife is going to worry about that. Your wife as an 18-year-old teenager worried about that. So no empathy there?
That somebody like me, no matter how clever I think I am, gets checked by other people. So I want to be in that world. So I didn't have a problem with, hey, we're going to let everybody vote at the state level. Even though this is something, Tom, that you don't want to see get struck down, are you okay with the states voting on it? 100%. Because I've seen states, California included, do things that I think are maniacal. And it is
Like
the
what?
fact that I can leave, I can vote with my feet, and still be in America.
And he's a multimillionaire again, and who chooses to live in Los Angeles, ironically. You are not every person, Tom. He cares about the middle class, but in reality, do you realize how unattainable moving to a different state in a moment of crisis is in reality?
Gives me comfort.
Do you
good.
think
I'm glad it gives you
abortions
comfort.
are evil?
No.
There you go. That's, for me, what I needed to hear. Okay,
Oh, good.
so we
I'm
spoke
glad.
about
I'm
abortion.
glad that's all you needed to hear, Lisa. I'm no longer in support of you. I'm just kidding. But
You look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
accurate.
We spoke about groping women. These are the things that really bothered me. And then the last one was immigration. I'm an immigrant. So one of the comments was, Lisa, you're a beautiful and amazing woman and an immigrant.
Oh, they took away the label hate comment because Laura said you're beautiful and amazing. So they can't label it a hate comment this time. I'm sure she wanted to, though.
I hope that you'll address the very polarizing statement made by your husband.
Which one?
So
really.
I wanted to talk just very briefly about how you see immigration, because again, that kind of ties to Trump as a voter. Going back to the hypocrisy thing, you're married to an immigrant. You're married to a woman who came to America, whose parents are immigrants from Cyprus into England. And so that is literally my life. So
But you're white. But you're white. Duh. I don't care about white immigrants. I care about the real immigrants. That's what he's going to say with his eyes right now.
how did you navigate thinking through the immigration laws and then voting for somebody who
And your dad was rich, Lisa. I care about the economy only. Your dad's export money, we like that in this economy.
potentially could literally take my rights away and kick me out of the country?
This is, again, where you have to figure out what the nuance is. So Trump is not against immigration. I'm certainly not anti-immigration. So my thing is, I am opposed to illegal immigration. And now the question becomes why? So if you know that my whole thing is a thriving middle class,
Yes, his whole thing.
now you've got an economic question.
Yeah, I've always
So
thought that.
what do immigrants, illegal or otherwise, but what does a massive influx of immigration do? Okay, it devalues labor. So we can talk more about that, but that's like in my head, I'm like, uh-oh, globalization has been a real problem for the US because
I wish he would admit, though, and this is kind of a controversial take, but who deported more people than Bush was Obama. But they will never say, well, we really supported Barack Obama's efforts to deport illegal immigrants. They will say, no, he was letting them in. But in reality, he was actually doing it more than the left side wanted him to. Anyways, okay, whatever.
you
I'm
financially
curious as to what he thinks about how it's being handled right now, because that is also a huge factor in this too. Do you agree with, going door to door and pulling families out and zip tying them by the hands in our own country?
everything and you offshore labor so that you can make labor very cheap while keeping the dollar strong. And basically, if you're going to keep the dollar strong, you have to do labor in countries where the currency is weak. And I come at everything from cause and effect. So I'm like,
so
okay,
logical.
America's in crisis. We've accumulated $38.5 trillion in debt. Just the interest payments on our debt is.
And who contributed to that greatly? Your boy, who you voted for. Rabba Gabor, thank you so much. Rabba Gabor. How the F does not being able to choose how many mouths you have to feed not affect you economically? It doesn't affect him economically. And that's the important part, Rob. You need to realize Tom is speaking from an island of one, an Epstein island of one, as you may say. Some might say.
You're not freaking fine.
He doesn't care about the middle class. He knows that that's what rich liars say to quell the upcoming riots. That's what you must say to the public so that you can live on top of your giant cliffside mansion that's meant to look like the Batman cave because you have so much money and you've thrived in this world that is meant and built for you. and then you're going to still have major issues and vote against the people who care for you. Duh, Rob, duh, come on. I'm just kidding.
Somebody ought to smack you.
I'm on your side, dude. I'm on your side. This is all I have to say.
Let's tune into this ankle.
That's what the real truth is. Well, let's all look at our ankles real quick, and it'll give us the clear indication of where to move next. Thanks, Rob.
The second biggest line item in the federal budget. So we spend more in our debt repayment than we spend on the military. We spend more on our debt repayment than I think Medicaid. So it's like, it is just unbelievably large, the expense that we have on the debt. So I'm like, okay, globalism has been a problem. We're now in this crisis point. When you combine people looking for work.
And again, what does offshoring coding projects to India have to do with illegal immigration? What does making the factory in Mexico for Ford have to do with illegal immigration at all? That is a totally different argument and a totally different issue.
Can't find it, and people who just don't look for work, it's like 12%. It's astronomical. Now, nobody talks about the part of all the people that have just checked out of the labor market. They only talk about the people still in the labor market that can't find a job. That's ludicrous. So you need to look at what have we done since basically the 90s to offshore everything to China and completely hollow out manufacturing at a time where we are, it's known as Thucydides' trap. It comes from the Greek. So Thucydides' trap says anytime that there is a rising superpower that meets a declining superpower, there is historically, this is literal math, there is historically a 75% chance that they end in a kinetic war.
Literal math.
So the US and China, right now, just historically speaking, have a 75% chance to end up in a war with each other. And China controls all of our manufacturing. They control our pharmaceuticals. They control the vast majority of our...
And in reality, what has been done to quell this at all, except put tariffs on American consumers? There's not going to be factories built anytime soon in the US. It doesn't make sense. So, good work.
Drone pipeline.
I don't know.
All of the advanced technology through rare earth minerals and things like that. So I'm looking at that going, hey, it was nice while it lasted. That world order is finished. We are unwinding. We are decoupling from China. The world is breaking apart. And so from an immigration standpoint, I'm pro-immigration. But you have to have immigration done legally so that you can control the amounts. The second reason, so the first was economic. The second is cultural. So you and I think very differently. I realized very early in our marriage that it would be stupid to try to get you to think the way that I think, and it would be foolish of you to try to get me to think the way you think. But there's friction there sometimes, and that we see the world very differently. It allows us to come together as a couple. It has allowed us to be far more successful than either one of us would have been on our own. But there's friction, and we have to constantly deal with that friction. There's friction just being a man and a woman. Okay, so if you import a bunch of people that have different cultural values than you, you are going to get a collision. And so having unchecked immigration...
Oh no, the collision of cultures. Oh, that's really what's ailing us, that we have to watch Bad Bunny perform his #1 hit songs. Ugh, awful. Gosh, sort of collision of cultures. So you're like, I don't want people that don't agree with everything I think in my country. Okay. Got it.
Where you are not doing any sort of filtering for economic potential or for ideological alignment, you're going to create a problem. Now, when you have what we used to refer to America as a melting pot, where everybody became American, it works. When they stop melting, as they did 30 or 40 years ago, you don't have a melting pot. You have disparate people pulling in all these different directions. And if anybody thinks I'm crazy, you need only look at the difference in values between the left and the right. They're wildly at odds, to the point where you have people patrolling neighborhoods in Minnesota with machine guns. Okay, so anybody that can't see that we've got a...
I don't understand what you're talking about in this context at all, actually.
problem right now. We may not agree on what caused the problem, but we have a problem. For me, illegal immigration is a part of that problem.
It's the fact that you've thought so deeply about it that also makes a difference to me. If you
No.
were flippant, if you weren't knowledgeable, I would be a lot more concerned.
He's cherry picking whatever he can, math that makes his point that he's come to sound more rational and official and totally the only logical explanation. And anyone else who thinks differently is just completely emotional and irrational and clashing with my culture. So it's not real thought through, unbiased takes. He's just deciding to find facts to go with what he already believes.
And one follow-up question I have is, how would you feel if, so you voted for Trump and then all of a sudden, let's say, because he's a very manipulative man, you can never trust any politician, let's be honest, not even just
Yes,
him.
please remember that.
Yes, so knowing
Please
that,
remember.
there's easily he could change his mind down the line and a year later and be like, actually, screw you, any immigrant that wasn't born here, I'm going to kick you out. How would you feel if that happened?
I would be furiously angry. Now, he would have a very hard time pushing that through. And this is what I'm saying. We have a representative democracy with 3 branches of government meant to.
Okay, then this argument goes against then him voting for Trump. It's like, if you believe like there's checks and balances and most bad ideas can't get through, then vote for who you want to vote for. But feel like, oh, I want to vote for the nice person, but I have to vote for this horrible succubus because, you know, the economy of the middle class. If it doesn't actually matter, then vote for who your wife votes for, then, I guess.
Hold each other in stasis.
Sure, I want to ground it in the you as my husband, right? Because I think that there's the government side and then there's me, you, the relationship and how we deal with this sort of thing. So knowing that you then voted for the guy that kicked your wife out.
So you're saying, what if the person
Did you consider that? Coming up.
to betray yourself is to doom the marriage from the start?
What's up, ladies? Okay, let's talk relationships.
What's up, ladies? Okay, this is a course for sex or something. I just want to play it for a second because I'm like, what is this?
Because being in one isn't just about love and loyalty. It's about connection. It's about feeling seen, supported, and yes, intimately aligned.
This is the hellscape in which we call home now. A woman and her husband, who are multimillionaires, discuss the issues of the working class in America at a very unintelligible level. And then there's an ad break, which she is now profiting probably thousands of dollars to promote during said interview that only got 15,000 views, about how to connect with your spouse intimately and how to have more connection in your relationship. Meanwhile, he's saying, I don't really support you in anything you believe. And my vote goes against it, and I make content about it, supporting and trying to convince other people to vote my way. Wow, we're meta. And before I continue on this commercial break, thank you to Asari Shepherd. Asari Shepherd, as always, thank you so much. Asari says, I like the wife. He looks like Gollum and is mean. Yeah. I'm telling you, I like Lisa on the scale of not liking anybody. I don't like her, but out of all the people I don't like, I dislike her the least. Does that make sense? I like her the most, dislike her the least, but she's still on the people I don't like list. Does that make sense?
What do I need to believe about this so that it serves me?
That's Tom every day, picking his political beliefs.
Clear, clear, clear.
All right, let's take a moment.
The mango frequency
is so quantum.
One more. I did a yoga class this week on Tuesday. Wonderful. It's so nice to do yoga without being indoctrinated into a cult. It's so good. It does happen. You're allowed to just go to a yoga class. You don't have to actually make it your whole personality. I learned that the hard way. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Thing that nobody actually tells us. Intimacy doesn't just happen. It's a skill. That's why I absolutely love Beducated. It's an online
Beducated. It's an online resource.
Platform with over 150 courses that help you and your partner build a
Everyone knows good sex comes from an online course. Dirty talk. Lesson 1, you slut. Lesson 2, you sick rich piggy frick. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna skip ahead now. But first, thank you, sorry, I'm gonna skip ahead. I'm not gonna watch this whole thing, but that's what she's hawking now. Sexication class course, Beducated. Sorry says, Lisa at least seems like she believes what she's selling. Yes, I agree. And I think she's politically at least more aligned with me and seemingly wanting to support women. Now, will she actually do it? No.
Vacation labia.
But will she pretend to? Yes.
I had a thriving wild stallion of Eros.
And they call that a bisexual tone.
My boyfriend.
Okay, skipping ahead, blah, blah, blah. We got a pink countdown clock. Thank you, sorry. Okay, back to it, hawk to it.
Ladies, that's where the magic happens.
Totally.
I don't trust politicians. So at all times, I consider that they will do something that I think is insane. And Trump has done a litany of things that I think is insane that would have really given me pause if I had known he was going to do them before I voted. So there's no doubt that I distrust politicians to do what they say they're going to do and to not do something that they said they wouldn't do. But your hypothetical, I'm not worried about it in the day-to-day, but if he did do it, then of course I would push back. To the point where we are a family of means, I would go to DC, I would try to rally people, this is absurd, I would use my platform to be abundantly clear about the cause and effect nature of how...
So when it affects him personally, because he would now be losing his wife, now he cares and now he wants to fight against it. Got it. So he can choose. He's choosing not to care about his wife's issues. Got it.
Ridiculous and asinine that thing is. I am not on a team. So me voting for Trump does not mean I'm Team Trump. If Trump flames out and does not do the right things, then Trump should be booted. Like that's so easy for me. And so anybody that watches, I talk about this all the time, avoid.
Like he wants like a pat on the back. It's like, yeah, but you still brought him into office. You helped with the, whatever.
Avoid being on a team. Avoid thinking from a team perspective. The fact that I'm on your team is the reason the only irrational decisions I make in my life, I do in your name. Literally everything else in my life, cause and effect. I know where I'm trying to get to. What am I going to do? But because you feel...
He thinks he's so wise. It's like, dude, you've made mistakes. I've watched the mistakes play out millions of times. You got into crypto. Where is the logic, cause and effect there? Where is that business anymore? You know, you got, I think, I don't know for sure, but I think you got pushed out of Quest. Where was your logical cause and effect there? Your YouTube is horrible. It's down the dumps. Your Instagram engagement sucks. Where's the cause and effect there? You don't care anymore? He's so logical. He can't even see emotions. The only emotions that he has are through his wife, who's so emotional and needs chocolate. Anyways, sorry. Thank you so much. Sorry says, how did Gollum land Lisa? I need to know. He was her teacher, once again. But like I said, they were both adults consenting. But he was her teacher. And they went out to lunch, sushi after class, and he was mean to her, I think. I forget. There's some details on one of these videos about them at some point. And then he said something.
Back to the swallowing.
And then he said something rude, and then he decided, oh, I messed up. I actually do like you. Is that the story? It sounds right.
You're exchanging biofluids.
And then they were exchanging biofluids, and then, you know, here we are.
Go on, Raya, right now.
That's what I'm telling you, Lisa. Lisa, here's my tip for you.
Go on, Raya, right now.
Thanks, sorry.
Feeling safe, you feeling protected, you feeling like I'm on your side is so important to me because my marriage has given me more than anything else in my life. It's the one place where I go, I'll make irrational decisions, if that makes sense. But when it comes to politicians, I'm not on anybody's team. I'm not left, I'm not right. I am who's going to help make the middle class thrive.
Yeah.
So now coming back to that original horrific comment where that person thinks that I'm a hypocrite.
You are though, girl.
I'm really grateful for you being on the show, for us to talk through this, so that hopefully people can see that it's not black and white and that it doesn't make me a hypocrite at all, that I can absolutely have a husband that votes for someone that I don't like. And yes, I can still be an advocate for women and still have a beautiful relationship with my husband.
And remember, your husband can vote for somebody that he doesn't like.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what I'm saying. People think I voted for Trump. Like I was like, oh my God, this guy's a...
Hey, did you put it on your ballot? Yes. Okay, so you did vote for Trump. Again, no one's saying, well, I think he likes the guy, and I think he shouldn't like the guy. No, it's not. To me, it's not about that. It's about you put everything aside to still vote for the guy that you claim not to like. So it's the same to me.
Amazing. I looked at my options, I held my nose, and I went with the person I thought had the higher likelihood of helping the middle class thrive.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've got some stats for you.
Let's go.
So recent data indicates that only about 3 to 6% of all US marriages are between a Democrat and a Republican.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
So when people look at us and they're like, how the hell do you guys make it work? You have different ideas, ideologies.
It's the money. It's always the answer. It's always the money.
It's actually not true. Growing up, my mum voted for Conservatives and my dad voted for Labour.
That's interesting.
You wouldn't have thought that.
I would not
You
have
wouldn't
thought
have.
that.
But my dad voted for Labour, so my dad was up and coming, going into the business world, came from nothing.
Yeah,
So, but the
true.
reason why he voted for Labour was one reason. It wasn't for financial safety for his family. It was for one reason, because they promised they would help get Turkish people out of Cyprus because of the war. But my dad held to that one thing. And every time my mum would talk about the financial implications and all of this, my dad was like, but this is what I care about.
Yeah, North Star.
So I grew up in a world where you can...
He had a North Star. He was solid. He was good. He had his North Star.
have these different ideas, but not it be so combative.
Here's the thing. I really believe you have to share core values. You and I share core values.
So what are those core values?
That love is important and worth sacrificing for. That one should contribute not only to themselves, but to other people. That family's important. That growth is important. That life is meant to be an expression of joy, discipline, hard work. That you can achieve anything you set your mind to. There are, of course, limitations, but that's certainly a guiding thing. That everybody should have a shot, but outcomes are going to be unequal. That love.
Everyone should have a shot, but not people who I don't have different cultures than me, people who came here illegally, people who, I don't know, can't move to another state. Yeah.
Love is the greatest thing that life has to offer you. And so act accordingly, that our marriage is the most giving and worthwhile protecting thing that we have. I could keep going, but...
No, that's beautiful.
I mean, he was willing to disregard her and vote for who he wanted to save the marriage. I didn't hear anything political. The political middle class matters the most over our marriage. That's what he basically is saying. Okay, whatever. I hate these political things. I don't want to talk about politics on this channel.
Stat for you.
Ever.
So a research study highlighted that 11% of Americans have ended a romantic relationship over political differences.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you say it instead of political differences, differences in core values, yes, I get that.
But I don't think people go that deep. I think what happens is they're like, oh, I voted for Trump, done.
Yeah.
No one's saying, but what are your core values? And I think, again, that is why people probably think it's so crazy that I could run a channel that is about women, supporting women, and be married to a guy that voted for Trump. It's all the headlines, right? It's headline service level. It's not deep. Do we actually share the core values?
When people hear voted for Trump, what they actually hear is a Republican or is on Trump's team, neither of which are true.
Right.
So I am cause and effect oriented. I care about outcomes, and I'm going to vote for whatever party is going to get me there. That is so liberating to not feel like I have to justify if Trump does something dumb, I'm going to say that's dumb. The number of times he's done stupid things is shocking. And every time he's done something stupid, I've said that's stupid. But I can say why it's stupid. It's not that like I have an emotional problem with it.
I'm not arguing against that. I believe wholeheartedly that people should not take such a strong stance 100% of the time on the right or left. I wholeheartedly believe that. I've called myself on this channel, I believe, a moderate before, which I don't even think it's a moderate. It's more about like, I want to go issue by issue. I think that is probably the majority of people feel the same way, is that there's some issues that they care about a lot. There's some that they don't care about as much and that they have to pick and choose. I get that. And I think you should be able to criticize people in office, people who are wanting to be in office, even if they're on your political team, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, there are some things and people in your life that you are choosing over, you're choosing your interests over them by voting a certain way. I do believe.
It's from a cause and effect perspective. Here is how I see this playing out.
But now imagine him fucking up, doing dumb shit, doing all this ridiculous stuff that's just sometimes just horrifying. And you go, yeah, Like, if you supported all of that dumb shit, I also think that would make a difference to mine and your dynamics. But being able to see that you're not biased. You're not biased to, I voted for this person, therefore I stand by them no matter what. And one of the things that allowed me...
But no one's saying that about him specifically. There are people like that. I don't think he's one of them necessarily, but I'm still angry that she has a platform that's, she's saying, I support women, that's my life purpose. And then you have a guy who's your number one boo thing, actively working by voting not to support women.
To really be okay with all of this and it never be really a problem in our relationship is when I see dogmatic people. When Trump had the assassination, this was one of those things that really bothered me because the amount of Democrats...
Attempt. You need to add the attempt because he was not assassinated, okay? This is not breaking news.
That were like, such a shame he didn't die. And I'm like, you'd rather that than have him in power. Like, that seemed so crazy to me because you want the leader to lose more than you want your country to win. Mm-hmm. And when I saw people acting...
I have similar thoughts that I don't think, and this is part of my, like, picking and choosing certain things that is not popular. I think being a moderate person or having like different thoughts about individual events, people get more angry for some reason than if you're just all in on stuff. But as hot as Luigi is, and as much as I hate the healthcare system, what he did to me was wrong. Wrong. He deserves to be in prison for the rest of his life. I know, horrible hot take, but he committed murder in the middle of the street in broad daylight. To me, that is like, you have to be punished for that. And I don't think his target was, fair enough. Like, I'm like, some people, whatever. Same thing with Trump. I don't think he should have been shot and killed during a speech. Sorry, I don't think so. I think that would have caused more problems. Do I like the guy? Absolutely not. Do I think political violence should be encouraged or supported or laughed off? No. Same thing with Charlie Kirk. Do I think he should have died that way? No. But I don't support them as political figures, but I have a hard line with murder, which, I know a lot of people don't, and it's fine that you don't, but I personally do. So in that case, I agree with her, I think.
Like that, and you don't act like that. I was like, okay, I have a husband who is very moral, who has always been on my side. So the proof has been over and over and over again that I know who you are fundamentally. And I don't think people look at relationships on that deeper level. Well, I got another hateful comment. Woman said, laugh my ass off. I'll wait for the divorce, happily mutual breakup post in a year or so. It won't end well.
Me too.
Love when people say that. I have to say, I like that. I want to collect a wall full of those.
So in 2025, a study found that the annual separation rate for couples with different party affiliations was 1.6% compared to 0.77% with the same affiliation. This indicates that mixed party couples face a 38% higher.
Where are they getting these statistics from? I'm curious. I don't even care, but where are they coming from?
Risk of separation, 38%. So we didn't fall into that statistic either. So if you had to like now wrap this, how you think that we have been able to stay so strong, so aligned, not break up, not have a divorce.
Because you're willing to put up with his bullshit. That's the only thing. He doesn't want to find another woman, and you're willing to put up with his bullshit. That's why you're together. And hey, that dynamic works. Is it a happy marriage? I don't know. Who cares?
Even though the world and statistics say we should, what do you put those attributes to?
I want you to win. I love you, and I want to see you happy, and I want to see you win. And if you didn't make me feel the way I want to feel, of course, this would never work. But that has to be a two-way street. I need to make you feel the way that you want to feel. I need to support you. I need to want you to win. And so, listen, if we had problems at the level of core values, it would be an issue. But thankfully, we don't have that problem, so the other stuff becomes relatively surface.
Mm-hmm. So for me, the big thing was, so for you, is you wanted me to win. For me, for you, it was, you are your own human, you have your own thoughts, your own decision making, and I'm not a parent, I'm not your mother, I'm not here to tell you what to do. You left me a lot of...
Even though she used to make his lunches and put his clothes out for him so he could work at the office.
space to be able to tell you how I felt. You didn't try and shut me down. You were always questioning how I felt and if I, to talk through it. So I think putting all those things together is exactly what allowed us to kiss and move on.
I literally think they could just boil us down to suck it up. How to make your love last, suck it up. And then your love can last. Otherwise, I don't know. It's going to be tough.
One more thing. I don't need to be right. So
Yeah.
I don't have any insecurity.
Yeah, I believe that, Tom, totally, based on this conversation.
If somebody challenges my way of thinking. So if you had come and said, hey, I have this argument, and it made me go, ooh, actually, I really see where you're coming from on that. I'll update my mental model and we'll move forward.
But
so
you would never say anything I would agree with. So I'm not worried about that, babe.
I don't feel attacked when you or anybody else comes up and says, hey, you believe this thing, I think that thing is absurd. I'm just like, okay, let's think through the cause and effect. Am I right about the cause and effect? I know to distrust myself enough. So that helps as well. I don't get my back up. I'm not being defensive. I just want to know how you think. I don't need you to think the way that I think. So if you lay out your arguments and I understand them but don't agree, and I outlay my arguments and you understand them but don't agree, again, barring a core values misalignment, we should be able to go, oh yeah, she has a base assumption that I don't share, same for me, and we march forward nonetheless together because I don't need you to think the way that I think because it doesn't make me insecure that you feel a different way.
But there is that fine line because if you had turned around and said to me, I don't care that Trump was in the Epstein files, good for him. Abortions, if any woman gets it, they're the devil. Immigrants should absolutely leave the country. Like if you took all the core things that I really cared about and dismiss them, this wouldn't work. I do need you to think like me on certain things or have the same
Yeah, fair enough. I think everyone understands that.
value system around things.
Yep, core values. Without that, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Duh.
All right, now moving on.
I don't need a podcast to know that, I think.
Mr. Bilyeu,
Let's do it.
to another thing that a lot of people have a lot of problems getting past when it comes to relationships, and it's either the make or break on whether they date or it becomes a massive problem later in the relationship, and that is religion. So I'm Greek Orthodox, you're atheist. When I met you, I said to you that it was important for me to get married in a Greek church. I went to Greek school. I go to church on Sundays with my dad. Like it was a very big part of who I was. I would wear a cross around my neck, and here you are saying you don't believe in God. So I want to read a couple of stats. Approximately 26% of all current marriages in the US are in interfaith marriages. The most frequent mixed pairing involves one Christian spouse and one religiously unaffiliated spouse, which is 13%. So let's talk about the differences there, because to me, it didn't bother me that you didn't believe in God. It was important to me for you to just respect where I came from. So talk to me about that, because when we first met and we started to get serious, I had said to you, it is important to get married in a Greek church. There was a lot of sacrifices you were making to marry someone that was religious.
So one, I very much understand the appeal of religion. And I did then in a less intellectual way than I do now, but certainly understood the power of it. I was very religious when I was younger, so certainly understood the grip, understood how through culture or through history, we've used it to pass on culture and values and all that. So I got that. You were raised a certain way. My own family, very religious. And so you cannot hate that which you love. So it just never has been strange for me that people that I love and care about believe in a way that I don't. And so much of religion is, call it affectation. So Christmas theoretically is born of a Christian holiday, and yet I enjoy it tremendously. America sits on a foundation of Judeo-Christian ethic. And so, so much of the way that I've raised and the way that my worldview is all based in Christianity. So no, in the beginning, I was just curious to understand why you believed what you believed.
I love that you said curious, and that was one of the first things you said to me on our first date, where you're like, oh, why do you believe in God? And it wasn't a test. It didn't feel like a judgment. It felt like utter curiosity. And so I remember thinking, oh, wow, he's like, no one's ever asked me that before. And then I paused and I was like, I actually don't know why I believe in God. I was like, because my dad told me to. And obviously for me, that was a opening and an awakening of like, hey, you shouldn't just blindly follow. You really have to understand why you believe in what you do the research, and then either confirm that, yes, actually this feels good to me or it doesn't. And you were the first person to kind of make me think about that. So that was very sexy to me, to be honest, that you were curious about why I thought the certain things.
Raise your standards.
The other part, though, especially for me, because I don't know if it's actually easier for the atheist or the Christian, but for me, I didn't need you to believe in what I believed, but I needed you to respect the things that were important to me that came with it. So, for instance, getting married in a Greek church meant that you had to get christened. Having kids christened in a Greek church, them going to Greek school, like those things were things that we spoke about early on. Do you think there would have been a breaking point on, like, was there a fine line for you? Thinking now to maybe someone at home that's listening, that maybe they're religious or they're not, and they're with someone and they don't know if it can work.
Of course, there are limits to anything. And so the way that I look at it is relationships are a big negotiation. And as in any negotiation, there are things you care about. And there are things you're like, oh, that means something to you. It doesn't really mean anything to me. Absolutely. So what building we got married in was not relevant to me. It's like, oh, here's the person I care more about than anybody else. I would literally lay my life down for this person. And all she's asking me is to study her religion so that I can pass a test, basically, get christened, get oiled up, and then get married in a Greek church. I was like, yeah, cool, like no problem. Also, it was exotic for me. So it wasn't Christianity the way I had experienced it as a kid. So I went to church in a mission, like the Salishan Lutheran mission in Tacoma. It was like a kind of old, beat up, like almost school building. Like it was just tiny and weird, and it was just linoleum floor and folding chairs. Like it was so different. So you can imagine going to London and
in
seeing,
a Greek Orthodox church,
so ornate and vaulted. See, I was like out of a movie. So, and the robes and all that. So for me, it was like, this is not me at all, but this is so fascinating and so interesting. And really was part of the enchantment to the early stages of our relationship, where not only am I from America, I'm from the West Coast of America. Old is like 30 years old. So to encounter so much tradition and history, not only in England, but a Greek culture in England. So it's like these two incredibly old civilizations welcoming me. And so at every step of the way, while there were times where it was dull or like I had to keep going to those classes, which is a story unto itself, but getting married in what felt like a mystical ceremony, because I couldn't understand what they were saying. They're waving smoke around and chanting and wearing the crazy robes and like, you know, doing the Stephana and like all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, like this is so, it felt so big and so important. So having an open mind, a curious mind, being enthralled by things like that, not turned off by it. I moved towards change. I moved towards difference.
All I can say is, like, this part of the conversation I'm not really that interested in. It seems like they both kind of, she's more religious, he's not. He was fine with going with the flow. Great. That is, I think, a compromise that makes sense in a relationship. But the part that annoys me is that he just thinks so highly of himself, that he's done the research. He's an intellectual. He understands religion beyond what even Lisa understands. She just blindly follows, but he understands it because, you know, he's thought it through, unlike her, and he's challenging her. I don't like that. And typically I find that with men. It could be women too, but like this very dogmatic attitude of, oh, I know best in everything, and I question myself all the time, but they actually never do. They never change their opinions. They say, I am so wise, I could change, but somehow they always have the right answer every time. It's just a frustrating trait. I don't like those types of people.
I don't move away from it. So you put it all together and it's like, yeah, I've got to give some things up, but I get a lot in the process.
I love the word negotiation because you're so right. And I think that was one thing.
Just two people who didn't care. She didn't care that he was an atheist. He didn't care that she was religious. Got it. Cool. Move on.
That we actually ended up doing very well. We were young. And so, you know, in hindsight, we were fumbling through it. So I just remember being like, hey, look, getting married in a Greek church is very important to me. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll get christened. And I was like, wow, really? And you said, oh, of course I'll go study. All of those moments weren't like, fine, I'll do it. It wasn't like a burden to you. And so that made me feel like we were working as a team. And when I hear people talk about religion and dating someone outside their religion, it always seems like it's two different teams coming together. Whereas me and you always felt like we were one team with the same goal, trying to win the.
Now, if he was still Lutheran or whatever and she was Greek Orthodox, then they might have an issue. I think because he was laissez-faire about it and she had a direct, idea of what she wanted, then there was no problems. But if they both had differing, I think they wouldn't have been able to work. But again, this seems extremely obvious.
Cup.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that you said that was important to you, and I want to make sure that we talk about this, where you said, but I need you to know, this doesn't mean that I believe in God.
Because if you need me to believe, then this isn't going to work. But if you understand that I'll do this because I love you and this is a thing that gets you.
Are they thinking that this is not common knowledge to every person out there? I don't know. What is the point? Like they're blowing our minds right now?
The marriage in the church, the Chris and kids, that kind of stuff. Great, no problem. But I am going to be me. And that's the only thing, to betray yourself is to doom the marriage from the start.
So true. And so you felt you weren't betraying yourself by getting christened. You would have betrayed yourself if you didn't say out loud that it didn't mean that you believed in God.
Yeah, it's an affectation. I'm not worried about that at all. So if you said, hey, it really would mean a lot to me if on special occasions you wore a cross. Okay, I don't care. That's a thing that I'm doing for you. It's not like it's burning a hole in my chest or it's not garlic and I'm a vampire. So none of that stuff matters to me at all. So if it's meaningful to you, cool, of course, I'm going to do it. And this is the thing that makes me sad.
Move on.
Especially young men are doing everything they can to be worthy of sexual access.
Yeah.
And so I want, now even still, but back then, you can hardly see.
They're doing anything they can. Yeah. Except for being nice, looking good, trying, going anywhere. As a single gal, they ain't trying hard enough, let me tell you.
Great, you just want to impress the other person. So if you say, hey, these things will impress me, these things, I like these things, and I will feel more drawn to you, close to you, it's of course, this is an easy trade. Oh my gosh, as long as I don't have to betray myself, no problem. And so that's somehow become a weird taboo thing these days, but I think it's very important for people to understand why God or evolution or whatever you believe, baked into the sauce, that men are hyper motivated by that. And I think that the pursuit of being worthy of a woman is one of the most important things for a young man to embrace and pursue. And when I think about how much I have achieved specifically because I'm trying to impress you, because I'm trying to take care of you, it's incredible. And I don't even want to know who I would have become if I hadn't met you, because you gave me so much incentive to reach beyond who I was into who I could become.
Great.
And you gave me explicit encouragement to be more, to do more, to reach for more, to try to be more. And that worked. It changed my entire life.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing for me was when you were talking about religion and getting christened and then you set your boundary, I had a lot of respect for you. Because to your point, a lot of men will be willing to do whatever it takes to get the woman into bed. They'll lie, they'll manipulate, they'll say whatever they need to just get that. And you weren't willing to do that. You weren't willing just to kowtow to me. And that showed me that you also had the backbone, that you weren't willing to betray yourself. And that then allows me to make sure I don't betray myself.
It's interesting. It's a good point that you're bringing up because it is a double-edged sword. You can become a nice guy, as they say, and you're just doing whatever you can to get the sexual access, but it's in a fraudulent way. Or you can fight to earn your own respect and in that battle become worthy of that kind of union. When you have a male and female influence, when there is a yin-yang pull in your personality to be loving and kind and also be strong and a protector, you get something extraordinary. But that stuff doesn't happen by accident. That kind of profound yin-yang pull is, I think, incredibly important. And we're just old enough that we both had that.
And so that worked very well.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what
So
that
now
meant.
just to kind of wrap up the religious side of things, I was one of the first people in my entire family to marry outside of my culture. My dad said no to you when you went to ask for his blessing to marry me. And yet we didn't allow that to get in the way of our dynamic. The last thing I want to make sure that we do address, though, is the kids part. So that was also the other thing. When we thought we were going to have kids, for me, it was, I really want them to get christened as Greek Orthodox. I want them to go to church. I want them to know that type of culture. And you were very on board with that. And I think that could have also been a breaking point, but wasn't.
Yeah, of course. Like money and kids, man. That's what causes a lot of friction in people's lives because it becomes an expression of your core values. And so how are we going to raise them? What are the things that we're going to say to them? What's something that's so important to me that if mommy said that thing, that I would say that isn't true?
Oh.
Yeah. And vice versa. And so I think people run into real problems.
Again, I'm assuming they're going to talk about a hypothetical children scenario, but they don't have kids. So what's even the point of discussing it between them? Like, hypothetically, if we had kids, what would you think about this decision we would have to make about our children's dentist? It's like, it doesn't matter. So what's the point?
Because their spouse says something that they just can't, I can't let that one go. And they push back. And now you're talking about the thing that matters most to both of them in the universe, that child, and now you're pulling it in a different direction than I'm pulling it. Ooh, you're going to see values collisions come out real fast.
Yeah, if you were like, no, mummy believes in this mystical thing that's not even real called God, like, oh, can you believe it? Like, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, especially if you're throwing your spouse under the bus and it's like, mommy's silly, mommy's ridiculous. Now
I'm not
you're
going
in
to
trouble.
church, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, got one more stat for you. So studies suggest that interfaith couples are roughly 20% to 50% more likely to separate than those in same faith marriages.
Okay. Why?
20 to 50.
Yeah.
So again, we've somehow beaten all the odds. So bravo. All right, are you ready to move on to the next one?
I am indeed.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so we got sex and porn. I'm going to start
wait.
with a stat for you. Men versus women. A sexual behavior study indicated that the average man in his 20s thinks about sex 19 times per day. Whereas
That's way too low. That's way too low. I'll tell for real. I thought you were going to say an hour. And then I'd be like, okay, that's believable.
Okay, well, listen to the other stat. Whereas the average woman in her 20s thinks about sex roughly 10 times per day. I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I never thought
So
about sex 10 times
here
a day.
we are. I'm 19 an hour. You're like 7 a day. Yeah,
All right.
that's about right.
So let's talk about the difference between men and women, me and you, with sex and porn, and how we've been.
Yeah, like, where do you get these statistics from? I agree. We studied people's brains and decided what was going on there. Okay.
Able to navigate it, knowing that we think so differently. So when we first met, you were 24, I was 21. Our sex drives were very different. Actually, I think they're more aligned somewhat now, actually, as we've gotten older. But talk to me about the importance of sex to you and what you feel like we were able to do to navigate our differences where a lot of other couples find it difficult.
You're having a biological experience. I'm well aware of that. I know I'm in a body, and that body is programmed, for lack of a better word, to move towards certain things, away from others, all of that. So I always understood that there was a difference in sex drive between men and women. So you not wanting sex as often as I did not take as a rejection of me. So you saying that you didn't want sex was never like, oh my God, she doesn't desire me or anything like that.
I'm sure.
Also, oh God, cut if you want. You're an incredible lover. So like that.
Why would I cut that?
He's so evolved, Tom. He just gets it. He gets us ladies.
So from that perspective, it was like, okay, sure. Like it's just the frequency at which has always been mismatched. But we always talked about it very openly. And we had the understanding, I said, please never make me feel bad for asking, and I'll never make you feel bad for saying no. That way, I don't end up in some spiral where I'm never like putting forward, and you're then maybe not even feeling desired because it's like, well, I thought that he wanted sex, but he's never making an advance. So I was like, listen, this is my wife. I'm not gonna worry about making an advance but I also don't want her to do it if she's not interested. So I want to make sure that we have that conversation, that you feel completely comfortable saying, you know, not right now, I'm not in the mood, not today, whatever. And I was never going to harumph off into the corner.
Again, are we supposed to be applauding right now? Like, oh, you did what's legally required. Like, what are your alternative options here? I guess he's saying I could leave you if you didn't give me what I wanted, I suppose. But I don't know. I think this is like, yeah, it takes two to consent. Duh.
And so that worked really well. And then like anything, there's compromise. The ability to read the other person and make sure that they're loved in a way that they can hear, I think is really important. Like for you, it's quality time. So I'll do little things. You'll ask me a question, and there's a thing known as blading. Oh. It's where you stand sideways and talk to somebody. And it happens all the time. Like today I was at the fridge and you asked me a question. And I could tell you had some anxiety. So I stopped blading and I turned to face you and I said, it's something you're interested in and I care about you and the things you find interesting. So quality time, focus, attention, those things matter to you a lot. And I believe like old wisdom when people say it. So if somebody says, women need to feel loved in order to have sex and men need to have sex in order to feel loved, then I go, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. So what do I need to do to go out of my way to make sure that you feel loved? Because if you don't get that same signal in the way that I do, then I need to make sure that I give you the signal in the way that you actually will receive it.
Mm-hmm. And where do you think most people go wrong? Because I don't think we're abnormal in any way, in the sense of your sex drive isn't crazy different to a lot of men, and my sex drive isn't crazy different to a lot of women. But there is a lot of conflict when it comes to this. And I'm going to say, unfortunately, men end up going out of the relationship and finding it elsewhere. Sure. Why do so many couples fall in that trap and we haven't?
I'm trying to earn my...
Because you guys are specifically interested in each other and only each other. I don't know if there's other options.
Own respect.
No, I don't know.
Far more than I'm trying to earn yours or anybody else's.
I think they're committed to each other, and that is what it takes. Honestly, commit. And I think she sacrificed more than him, and that she's okay with that, and it works for them. Good for you guys.
So I don't cheat on you because I'm worried I'll get caught. I don't cheat on you because I would lose my own respect. I also
okay.
And this one's tough, but for anybody that knows Daniel Amen.
Oh,
that there simply
God. Daniel Amen, the brain doctor, brain scammer, announced alert.
A number of receptors that people have in their brain for chemicals like vasopressin or oxytocin. I am convinced I'm a hyper responder to bonding chemicals. So when we bond,
Shut up. What are you even fucking saying, Tom? Get your head out of your ass. What you're saying is not real. I'm an empath. That's what that sounds like to me. I happen to be an empath myself.
I happen to be an empath myself.
And I really bond. Like that really means something to me.
Only him.
And the reason that I want to communicate and all that stuff is because I want to feel close to you. So I'm not just doing it because, I hope this works and making her feel close to me. I want to feel close to you. And cheating on you would make me feel separate from you. And then I'm just like, well, why am I in the relationship? So relationships are compromise. And compromise needs to be towards some end that you care about so much that the compromise is a very easy price to pay. The feeling of closeness, the feeling that we're doing life together means so much to me that I wouldn't trade that for all the sex in the world. And sex is rad. It's an all captivating thing for me.
It's rad.
But it isn't as important to me as feeling like I'm a partner with you and that we're sharing life. And I don't remember when I heard this, but it really stuck with me, that U2, the band, used to be a punk band. And they ended up changing like their whole image and all that. And they stayed together, and Bono became 10 times bigger than anybody else and could have had a solo career, but he didn't. And as it was relayed to me, somebody once asked Bono why he didn't go solo. And he said, the experiment I'm running is what does it look like when a band stays together forever?
Shut up.
When I proposed to you, I said the experiment I'm running is to see what happens when two people refuse to break up and they live their whole life together. Now, of course, we have rules, and if you...
How romantic. God. If someone said that to me, like, babe, will you marry me? I'm running an experiment to see if two people can force themselves against all odds to stay together. I would stab myself with the fork in my eye and run away and jump into a river and just end it all there. Okay, just for the record. God, what an unromantic thing to say. Jesus Christ.
You cheated or I cheated or it was loveless, we would end it. We're not stupid. But the goal is that you block off as many of those exits as you can so that your instinct isn't, oh, I can just pull the ripcord. Your instinct is like, okay, there is a path through this. It's not obvious right now, but I'm gonna find that path. And so we're always approaching things from that perspective. So you put all that together, me being a hyper responder to those things, high degree of communication, us wanting to really share a life and see where this goes. And you get something where we want it to work and we're willing to do the work to make it work.
That was so articulate. Thank you. That was great.
So good.
One of the hardest times for me sexually in our dynamic was when I had the big gut issues.
Yeah.
So I, for a year, could barely stand up. I could barely work out. I couldn't eat. I was 20 pounds lighter than I was now.
I would imagine it's some sort of repressed emotional issues based on losing her identity and her choices in life to this social experiment her husband had forced upon her, perhaps. I guess she didn't force it upon her. She said yes, but yeah. I that would be my guess as to her gut issues were emotionally repressed feelings. Not that needed to be you know what I mean, exorcismed out, but to be talked about with a therapist.
And so I remember thinking, this is a big part of your drive. Like, I know who you are. We've been together for a long time now. I knew how important sex was. And I had a lot of shame around it. And then ultimately it was like, hang on, you've got two choices. You can feel shameful and hide and not ask him and not like pretend. But actually that's worse than addressing it, asking how you're feeling, and if there's anything I can do from a moral support standpoint. And that was really hard for me. But I remember saying to you, like, I know that I can't be sexually active right now, but how are you feeling? Is there anything you need me to do? Can I support you? Want me to choose your porn? Like, I remember us talking through it to be like, this is still important to you and I don't want to ignore it. But I remember specifically having that conversation. And then that obviously now leads us to porn, where we had spoken about porn and things like that. There's a lot of things out there right now where guys turn to porn instead of their partners. Women now feel like the standards are just so high. When we met on our first date, one of the first questions that you said to me is, why do I believe in God? The second question you asked me is if I watched porn. And I remember thinking, what kind of man is this? Like, I remember thinking, I love you so much. It was so like refreshing. So talk to me about porn. What is it that you think men are so drawn to?
If people...
I can't wait for his response. Here's my take before he gives his take. I have personally no issue with porn. You want to watch porn and you're married? If I was in the marriage, I would be like, fine, I don't care. I do think what she said is also true, though, that the standards become way higher, that the realistic sex becomes unrealistic because there's, you know, if you're exposed to this fictionalized BS that is porn, that's the bigger issue for me. To me, I've never thought of it as cheating or as, you know, being unfaithful. It's like watching a movie to me. Personally, I understand why some people don't like it in their relationship, and I respect that, obviously. But for me, yeah, see, that would be like the religious thing. Like, you know, I don't care. I'm good to let go of this one. That's not my core value, personally. But Tom, take it away. What do you have to say?
People understand somebody who overeats or stress eats or whatever, then they should immediately understand porn. The reason that people liken sex drive to a hunger is that very reason. It really is a biological impulse. So one, I don't have an addictive personality, so I'm never going to be more into porn than I am my wife. But porn really does, like any sexual encounter, it spikes certain chemicals that feel awesome. And so if they have an addictive personality, if they're caught in like a stress loop and they need something to take their mind off of it, porn could be their addiction of choice. Some people drink, some people eat, some people have sex. Like it's just, there is a biological drive that I have and I can scratch that, and that masks that I have some other thing that isn't going right that I can't soothe. And so this is the thing that I lean on. And I remember when I was working 120 hours a week, and for the first time, I found myself truly emotionally dysregulated, and I wanted to alter my neurochemistry somehow. And I was like, whoa, this is how people overeat, do porn, whatever. And
he got caught watching porn. He was like, I'm just trying to alter my nervous system, babe.
I was just like, whoa, okay, so I get it now. I get, like, you're just, there's a part of your life that is causing an emotional dysregulation, and there's another area where you can go get yourself to feel exactly what you want to feel. And just for some people, that happens to be porn. But to understand it through the lens of biology, I think is the right answer. So I have hyper awareness about myself. I have rules in my life. So from that perspective, even if you were really going through something, I'm so aware of the biochemistry of intimacy, that touch, cuddling, holding each other. Like, we've got to keep doing those things, even if we're not able to have sex. And then this, for anybody that wants to understand how I could have patience during a very extended period of time, there's one phrase which is going to be weird coming from me, but for the grace of God go I. And I am all too aware that we'll hand off tragedies. And sometimes it's going to be you, sometimes it's going to be me. And I put you through 8 months of me working 120 hours a week. If I was trying to get a business objective completed, and I let it get all consuming, but none.
I'm assuming that's his crypto bullshit, his NFT project that is now unsaid and ignored.
Nonetheless, it was, this is a problem I've created. I can back out of this. And then you work to back your way out of it. But that didn't mean, as you have said to me, that it didn't leave scar tissue. So being aware of those things and going, okay, I know at some point this is going to be me that's going through the hard thing. And if you're upset at me and exacerbating said hard thing, that's horrible. So I don't want to do the same to you. And also, this is full credit to you. Even at the height of all that, you would say to me, no one likes somebody who complains all the time. And so you would be playful and joking. I'm like, hey, but is everything okay? And you're like, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'll mention it again some other time, but right now I just want to be playful. I just want to have fun. Please don't ask how I'm doing. Like, I just want to have fun. And it always reminded me of a Stephen Hawking quote. And for people that don't know him, he couldn't move anything. He was confined to a wheelchair, couldn't even hold his head up.
Is this on the island? Apparently Stephen Hawking loved an Epstein Island. Apparently he was not watching the Powerball. He was heading to the island to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein, from what I've heard through the grapevine. So I'm curious as to what his take on Stephen Hawking is right now.
Properly, couldn't talk, nothing. And he said, no one wants to help you if you don't help yourself first. And I thought, ooh, that's a lot of self-awareness.
One other thing that I think is important as we were talking about the sex was us talking about actually how much sex do you want? And checking in with each other regularly. So we've been together for 25 years. And so recently I came up to you because I'm like, he doesn't try on with me as much as you used to. Yeah. So in order to take accountability.
Crickets, awkward.
For ownership, I came to you and I was like, hey, is everything okay? I want to make sure, is there anything I'm doing? Can I do better? Do you need me to, up my game? What is it? And you were very sweet and you're just like, I'm an older man. My sex drive has changed. But that we were
boots are off,
able to talk about it. I think a lot of people in couples and relationships assume the other person's okay until they're complaining. And I think what's actually more powerful is to do those check-ins before the complaint comes, because now they feel seen and heard. Yeah. And then you had said about the trade-offs. let's be honest, when I turned 45, my hormones completely changed. I went into perimenopause. So that's another step of your sexual drive changing, your body is changing, your hormones are changing. And
why do we need the triple zoom there? What is it? I get the drama, but it's really, she's not saying anything that's incredibly intense there. It's changing, and then it changed again, and then it changed a third time, and now I'm seeing her pores. It's like, we cut it out.
If couples can continuously navigate your needs, your wants, your desires, not making them mandates, but it's like just laying them out, and then allowing the person to show up for each other, I think was something that we really did well.
Yeah, the perimenopause of it all, where you and I talked about it before it happened. We knew the stats. We said, okay, this thing is coming. Just keep in mind that divorce rates absolutely skyrocket during this time. It is going to be tied to your hormones. They are going to make you feel different ways. And people not paying attention to predictable changes so that they have a plan for how they're going to deal with it, I think that's where a lot of people get caught up.
I mean, God, they're so true. And just like stats and data, I don't fight them. I kind of just go, okay, they're true now. What am I going to do about it? So knowing that women that go through perimenopause and menopause are more likely to divorce their partners, let's freaking pay attention to that. You, God bless you, read the menopause book. One of the highest rates of infidelity and abuse comes when the woman gets pregnant.
Yeah, that one's wild.
Pregnant. And then, of course, during the first year of the child.
Yeah.
So again, we don't have kids, so we've never had to do this, but I would look at that situation and go, holy crap, babe. Skyrocketing in statistics.
Yeah.
Why? What are the theories out there? What's the hypothesis? And then what are we going to...
What do you think, Lisa? What do you think? Do you really need Tom to give his fake consideration analysis that's based on nothing but his own thoughts? Or can you put the 2 and 2 together here? That's a horrible truth of the world in relationships. Tom, take it away.
To navigate around it, because I don't want to be a stat. And so I think that's really what I really wanted to kind of do today, is take all the things that are hard for couples to get through statistically and go through how we've been able to manage it, because we obviously don't have the perfect marriage. We still argue and we still got things that we debate that we still debate and don't agree on. But thank you for going through this list, because I think it really is hopefully something that can help other people that may be struggling.
Yeah.
So one last little stat on sex.
Nothing to add there? Okay, got it.
So spontaneous desire.
I don't care either.
This is basically out of the blue urge. It is present in about 75% of men and only 15% of women.
Wow. Yeah. I'm very surprised.
So even when you think about that, the way that
these stats sound fake.
We think about sex, the way that we handle sex is so different. Communicating, talking, figuring it out, putting boundaries, non-negotiables.
Wanting the other person to win. Like, I really can't stress that one enough. So there are things that I know about you that get you excited sexually they're just whatever to me. I could not care less. Like, I get excited.
Tell us what they are, Tom, please. I need to know what turns Lisa on sexually that you don't care about at all. Give me something to go to bed tonight and think about, because this conversation has sucked for me so far.
To do a thing that I know you love. And if people could do that, like the way that it will change things for you, to just be like, oh, I know this person really loves that thing. I'm going to do that. It could be kisses on the neck. It could be like Sting used to joke that sex lasts for 8 hours. And forever people ran with it and thought they were actively having intercourse for 8 hours. He's like, are you out of your minds? He's like, I'm talking about it's a little bit of flirtation in the grocery store. It's that, whispering I love you in the ear over breakfast. And then later that night, because you've made your woman feel loved and appreciated in the center of attention, then it becomes sex.
So it's all a manipulative game. Got it. Perfect. Love it.
I always thought that was brilliant. And so if people don't do things like that, like, how do I see this experience from my partner's perspective? They're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. So true. Okay, one last stat on porn.
All right, let's hear it.
So roughly 12.2% of men aged 16 to 24 consume porn daily or almost daily, while only about 1.2% of women in the age bracket do the same.
I'm surprised 1% of women consume porn daily, to be honest. That seems high.
That discrepancy does not surprise me.
So I just know that some people either have the conflict over porn, how much they watch porn, who does what.
Yeah, now I highly encourage men and women alike to read a book called A Billion Wicked Thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And that book details the difference between porn aimed at men and porn aimed at women. 50 Shades of Grey is porn aimed at women.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey is a book, dude. Relax. Also, did you know, I just learned this recently. I learned a statistic. Did you know that 50 Shades of Grey was actually started as Twilight fanfic? That is true. Look it up. Look it up. It's true.
Yeah.
Like the video stuff is almost exclusively men.
The porn that I like, I barely watch ever. But if I ever did want to watch porn, I like it when there's a storyline, there's like a pizza guy, he's coming over, and then she's like, I can't pay. Oops. And then she's gotta pay him somehow, and he's like, okay, we'll work out a deal. And then he comes in the house and then it starts. That's the porn I like. I think that's the porn targeted at women.
But the market for romance novels, which is best understood as pornography for women, is massive. So women also want to feel
pornography to me.
The journey of going on that thing that they find exciting in the same way that men want that neurochemistry of all the visuals. It's a very different experience in terms of what turns them on.
I loved 50 Shades. Okay, so now moving on to gender roles, masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
So where I want to start here is I came on your show. And you came on my show. This was a few years ago. The comments of you coming on my show, because you're a confident man, everyone's like, oh my God, Lisa's married to a narcissist. Someone needs to save her.
Rescue.
Me. It's me again commenting this. No, I'm just kidding. But in my mind, I never comment on anyone that I don't like stuff. That is my hard and fast rule. I don't think I've broken it ever. I probably did in the past. But as of late, as of the last few years, that is the one thing I'll stand by. I don't agree by putting negative comments on anyone's... I did do it to Erewhon because that's a company, so that's different. But anyone's like page or whatever saying you're a piece of shit, I don't think it works. I think you should make your own content about why that person's a piece of shit.
Run. I actually got a comment. Lisa, run.
I remember.
Okay. Me coming on your show...
I agree.
We still are dynamic. Everything was still normal. Your comments were, oh, we see who wears the pants in the family. You're the cuck. What was the phrase?
A cuck? Yeah.
You're a cuck?
That is very much what people who think that would say, yes.
So, same couple.
Okay, I don't think that at all about him. Maybe that's why he's so overcompensating during this conversation to make sure that people cannot possibly say that he's a cuck, and maybe he is. But, I don't know. I never thought that, but maybe that's why he's acting like I have done the research as a man, and you are emotional, but I am a cause and effect thinker.
Paul, same dynamic goes on one side. You're the toxic one. You're the thing. Oh my God, Lisa needs to run. I come on your show because I'm a confident, independent woman. Oh my God, holy smoke, Lisa runs everything. So those are just very clear interpretations of me and you in the same dynamic.
Yeah.
As an independent, confident woman, I can be married to an independent, confident man. A lot of people don't think those two can exist. So how are you able to navigate being married to a very strong-willed female with a mind of her own and still being the head of the household, which is what we have agreed that you lead the family?
You bring value, so that goes a long way. I don't have to placate you. We have very different skill sets. We are good at different things that we are peers. And that has been a tremendous win. Again, going back to why we're as successful as we are. And in business, it's very easy to explain. I'm the visionary leader and you are the executor, operations, and every business story, people understand you need those two things, that yin and yang. It's harder to express in a marriage, but a marriage needs that same dynamic. You need people who together make a whole, and individually are still strong and they're very capable, but when they come together with somebody that fills in the gaps that they have, that they're able to really do something extraordinary. But you have to respect the gifts that the other person has, want them to shine when it's that person's time to shine, to not feel insecure that they're better than you at certain things.
That was a yawn attack.
Then I think a big part of it is going to be finding a way to value yourself for what you are good at. So I'm well aware that I can see around corners that other people can't see. I have a discipline and a tenacity and an obsession.
I'm a human periscope. I am able to look through walls. I have incredible strength, and I turn green when I get angry. Tom Bilyeu out.
That can move mountains. But I'm also aware that I'll start moving this mountain, and then this mountain, and then that mountain, and then none of the mountains actually get moved. And so you coming in and grounding it and saying, hold on a second, which of these do we actually want to focus on? Make sure you put them in priority order. If you give in to me and let me chase everything that I'm excited about, then we can't generate momentum. And so if you fought me on where we should go and I fought you on how we should get there, it's always going to be a nightmare. And obviously these are generalizations, but that has played out very well for us, is realizing, oh, the other person should want to shine. I'm with that person because I think they're an extraordinary human. And we have over time really just seen over and over and over what each of us is good at. And so that goes a long way. Now, it does not hurt that I am good at a thing that society expects men to be good at. I am good at leadership. I am good at tenacity. I'm good at being physically able to endure. And so I'm extraordinary.
In what way are you physically able to endure anything? Please break that down, because I have never seen you physically endure anything except for hearing your own voice.
Really proud of that. That means a lot. You've also rewarded me for being good at that. While I am not easy to influence, I am hyper aware that we are both the shout and the echo. We are what we do, and we are what other people tell us about the thing that we do. So yes, being good at a thing that looks traditionally masculine does not hurt. But the fact that I have a temperament that is very open to the feminine, influenced by the fact that I'm a hyper responder to vasopressin, oxytocin, so I feel like bonding really means something to me. Those kind of things. I'm hyper aware of my own emotions, both what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. Like, I'm a high-level communicator. Like, all of those things are traditionally feminine, but they've served us in the relationship. As a temperament, you're very low volatility. And I thank my lucky stars for that every day. So we've always said, you edge towards the masculine, I edge towards the feminine. Yeah. And because we're closer to the middle, it's been very easy for us to navigate. If either one of us were slammed to the extremes.
I agree that I've always read Lisa as more masculine. I've never thought of Tom as feminine, but if he thinks so, okay.
I think we'd have a bigger problem.
So true. Now let's talk about how you were able to navigate the change, because I was a stay-at-home wife. I was putting your clothes out. I was cleaning. I was cooking. Like, I was what you would consider a traditional wife. And then crazy idea that you had, let's start a protein bar company. I was going to help be the great Greek wife that was just going to help her husband. Little did we realize the company would grow at 57,000%. So I went from, hey, let me just help ship a box from, the living room floor, to then helping you actually build the whole company and the whole shipping department and everything like that. There was a lot of transition. So I went from the stay-at-home wife to now a full-time business partner.
Sure.
That was a very hard transition for us to navigate. Tell me, what was the hardest thing for you? Because two things could have happened. I could have stayed silent for my whole life because I would have thought that you would leave me, and I decided that I'd rather be silent and stay with you.
Yeah.
Or I say it and you say, this isn't what I signed up for. So either you have to stay a stay-at-home wife or
he wasn't listening.
Obviously, the third thing is what happened. So talk to me about the third thing. How do you feel like that we navigated it where we didn't fall into these other two traps like a lot of other couples do?
Well, it comes down to value system. So it was
Where are you going?
a struggle. I had to be able to articulate to you what I didn't like. And I remember saying, I'm not interested in, and I'll fill in that blank in a second. But it really was when I realized that I wanted you to win. And so ultimately, as I was processing through like, whoa, this is a big change. This is not what I signed up for. This is not the person that I married. Like, what do I do with this? I realized that I valued in any man that they would want their partner to become the person.
I was really thinking this, Gremlin. I was like, I've heard this so many times. Get a new story. Do something new, please.
They want to be. That a man ought to, as a moral judgment, elevate their woman. And so it becomes a question of what is it that you want to do and how can I help you get there? And that's not unlimited. There certainly are lines that I was not interested in being crossed. And I remember saying to you, I'm not interested in being married to a man. You're becoming very hard. You've always edged up towards the masculine and now it's too much. If you're in an environment where you're growing by 57,000.
She got the memo, but she didn't get the memo when it comes to her watch. She said, I'm getting the daddy watch special, the Diesel Daddy 2.0, because I want to be a soft, feminine energy woman.
%, and you're working around a bunch of very big, tough, strong, aggressive men who grew up in the hood, many of whom were either actively in a gang, had been in a gang, had been part of the drug trade. Like these were not
ex-convicts.
Yeah, we had a rule that it didn't matter whether you had a felony conviction. It just mattered who you wanted to become and the price you were willing to pay to get there. It was an extraordinary period in our life. I would never take it back, but it had.
I didn't know if I wanted to say anything, but that was a very odd photo to take. A lot of hands going on in that photo. A lot of hands.
Our first facility was in Compton.
Yes. So there were real consequences. The kind of people that you.
Oh. If you're wondering about the watch, it is the daddy special watch. Okay, I'll keep watching, but I'll pull it up again.
Had to get, quite frankly, get excited, but get them to follow you. And you did very good. And nobody that's ever worked for you will deny that you can be very tough. And so
as she should be.
You had to be that all day, every day. And in the beginning, you had a hard time turning.
This is the only thing on this whole interview I care about. This is the Diesel Men's Mr. Daddy 2.0 chronograph 2-tone stainless steel watch, 57 millimeters. And it costs $396. There's a special right now. That is the watch she has on her wrist, it seems like, allegedly.
Turning that off when you came home.
According to Google.
And so I was like, listen, I'm not interested in being married to a guy. I get that you've got to channel all this masculine energy, but you're going to have to find a way to separate that here because, one, I'm not going to fight for the leadership position. And so that was the line that I drew. And I said, ultimately, for somebody to lead, somebody has to be willing to follow.
Yeah, boo. See, this is where I'd be out. I'd be out at this point. Boo, no. Boo. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you get to be an automatic leader. Boo.
You look like a Lord of the Rings elf.
You're a loser.
Okay.
What do we do when I see it one way, you see it another way, and there's no third person to vote? So we're now at a deadlock. And hey, if we can't get past this, fair enough, but there are limits to, I'm not going to be in a loveless marriage. I'm not going to be somewhere where I'm constantly fighting. Like there's just no interest in that whatsoever. We say never talk about the tea, which is you'll argue about a surface level thing, but it's really about something else. We've gotten very good at saying, this is my actual problem. This is the foundational thing to this argument. And once we were able to get everything out on the table, then it's just a question of...
What about partnership? What about co-working together? Ever heard of a team? Sometimes they don't have a captain.
What are the compromises each of us are willing to make? Am I willing to be married to an entrepreneur? And do you still believe I'm worth following?
No.
And if you don't, now's the time to tap out. And we ended up going, I said, yes, I am interested in being married to the version of you that you want to become. And
Lisa
you said that I was still somebody you were interested in following.
There's so much there. I think
mistake.
The key things are is that you didn't come at me. You weren't like dismissing my growth. Like I felt like I had grown. Like I went from basically a silent woman for 8 years who didn't say that she was unhappy, never said it to you, like this is all on me, to then developing skill sets, building a department, understanding logistics and shipping and management and leadership. And I felt so good. Like I was so freaking proud. And you weren't trying to like take me down a notch, right? Like I think that's what some people do. They'll make snide comments. They'll try and reduce and minimize their growth so that they can keep that control. You didn't do any of that. You came to me and you said, hey, I understand why. That totally lowered my guard. I understand why you've had to get hard. You're dealing with everything you just laid out, but it doesn't work for me at home. And you were very articulate, honest with that line. You weren't attacking me.
It's just weird that they had to work together in the first place. It's kind of odd, right? Like, why couldn't she get her own job, do her own thing? Why did she follow him as a wife and then as an employee? Just do something else, girl. Do something else.
And so the second part came to hearing you out, hearing how you felt, and then deciding for myself what was right for me. Because to your point of what you said earlier, I didn't want to betray myself again. I'd done that for 8 years. So the last thing I wanted to do was now betray myself again because you were asking for it. Like that would have just been more detrimental to our relationship and our dynamic. And I remember thinking like, I think
she glosses over that pretty quickly. I betrayed myself for 8 years, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's my fault. It's like he had no role in that at all for 8 years. You were just unhappy, never asked you like, hey, are you okay? Didn't say, hey, do you want to accomplish any dreams? He's such an articulate, deep thinking man. What he didn't notice for 8 years and you had to come to the conclusion on your own, like, I got to do something with my life. Seems a little sus.
I do like to be soft around you. I actually do want you to lead. I love the fact that you take the leadership position. Like, I feel protected, I feel safe, like all these things. So I was like, actually, I do want this. And I still feel amazing being strong and dominant at work too. Now, do I want to do both? The answer was yes. Cool, how do I do both? And then that's where I came up with the strategy of the transition effect, right? I transitioned into being strong with my jewelry and my hair and my makeup. Like this is me gearing up for war, if you will. And then I come back from work and I do the opposite. I put on like fluffy pajamas. I put my hair up. And that became the transition for me to then be soft at home. But it also...
But did you have to do that? Like, would you have done that if he wasn't demanding it? I doubt it. I think that's who she truly probably was, a powerful woman. And now she's got to dim herself. I learned this in self-help college. Don't dim your light. Don't play small, play bigger.
Stemmed from you not criticizing and yet also leaving the door open for navigation, for change, for communication. And so I think those were the biggest elements that I think allowed, at least from my position, to really us navigate the feminine, masculine energy in our dynamic.
Very well said.
Okay, so now I want to go to
He was
chores,
not listening. He was not there at all. Neither was I, to be honest.
Chores is a thing.
Chores.
There's so many bloody reels about it.
How old are these people?
There's so many reels. We watch reels every night together. That's our fun thing. And we see these videos of women complaining about their spouses not doing chores at home. Now, me and you had such a lengthy discussion, like almost like a logistic also discussion, as well as a feelings discussion around chores, that we've never really had the arguments that now go viral online, where women feel like, I have to be his mother because he doesn't do anything. Right. Men feel like they get treated like a child. And so now you've got this really weird masculine, feminine dynamic online. So let's talk about chores. When we first got married, we spoke about, okay, what's our dynamic?
You have hundreds of millions of dollars, or at least multi-millions. Hire a cleaning service, for the love of God. Why are you even bothering talking about this?
And you, I think, had just read an article with Steve Jobs, where Steve Jobs basically said that the reason why he's able to get so much done in a day is he doesn't make small decisions like what he's going to wear, which is why he wears a black polo neck and jeans every day. So you brought this to me and you're like, well, babe, like, what if we teamed up? It's like, oh, okay, I'll do all the cleaning, I'll do the cooking, I'll cook the food. You would wake up in the morning, your clothes were next to you.
It was dope.
You would go to the gym, you'd come back, your clothes are waiting for you outside the shower. You didn't think about anything. Those chores was part of what kept me stuck for 8 years because I was like, well, oh my God, like I'm part of the machine now. But once I became a partner in Quest and then obviously in Impact Theory, we had to navigate that. I had said, I don't want to do the chores all the time. Like I will break. I physically cannot do it. And so we had a very transparent discussion. Now, I don't know if people know how much work
He's pissed. He's like, I want my clothes out again. Let's start the chores up again.
you actually do around the house. You do way more than me. Like if you were to put on a scale of weight of how much you take on at work and how much you take on at home, you absolutely carry more than I do. How have you made sure that you're not resentful to me? Like a lot of people online have now become, where they're just resenting their partner. This is a little different because usually it's a woman resenting the man, but how have you been able to not resent me?
Lisa, you're asking the wrong questions.
So it comes down to value system. A big part of me earning my own respect is to always carry the most weight that I believe that that's what men ought to do. Men ought to carry more weight. And you reward me emotionally through my love language for doing so. And if it wasn't acknowledged by you, if I didn't feel appreciated by you, if I didn't feel celebrated by you, that I work as hard as I work, that I put the family first, that I'm always trying to do right by you and us and obviously the extended family, I would resent it. But because I feel acknowledged and appreciated for those things, then it's easy. And I'm doing a thing to please the person that I care most about in the world and to do those things and get that, to be seen, to get you to look at me like a superhero. And it's sad that it came from this couple because they so publicly imploded. But it really hit me when Will Smith said, so many of the things I do so Jada will give me that look. And I was like, I know exactly what look you're talking about. And
this look. To Will Smith.
So much of what I do so you'll look at me like, whoa, how'd you do that? And I live for that. It's an awesome feeling. And so
he'll be finding a 22-year-old any day now. Any day now, fresh out of college. I'll be really impressed with him. That's what he sounds like he wants, someone really impressionable.
Again, with the religious statements, pray not for a lighter load, pray instead for stronger shoulders. Like, that's how I live my life. I'm not looking to offload things. I'm not looking to do less. I'm looking to be tougher. I'm looking to be able to do more, to push harder, to go farther. And I do that journey for me. And if in that, you also celebrate me for doing those things and pushing and carrying weight and all that.
Okay, not to be mean, but doesn't it look like he kind of injected his muscles? Like one of those bodybuilders that puts the hyaluronic acid in there and it's not actually muscles, it's just like liquid that makes it seem like he's got biceps. It looks a little bit like that. I don't know why I was just staring at that.
Then it's incredible and it feels awesome. And then I have things that I don't care about, and I will tell you, I'm not doing that. I don't care about it. That's a you thing. If you want to do it, by all means, I'm not asking you to. I don't care if you don't do it. So I'm not going to. If you want to do it, go for it. I won't make your life harder. But for instance, I do not hang up my clothes ever. And I set them on a bench. Now, we're fortunate. We have a cleaner and the cleaner knows to hang them up. But if we didn't have a cleaner, I would put them on the bench. And if you want them hung up, by all means, hang them up, but I'm not going to. And
so he's proving her point that if they didn't have money, then she would be resenting him for having to do all the chores forever. Yeah, okay, exactly.
Because I carry weight in other ways, you've always been insanely respectful. There's one thing that we collide over to this day, and I understand it. I can articulate your position. I can make it sound like it's my position, but it still causes friction in our marriage. And when you look at it, it's just values. I have a value system around efficiency. The reason I don't hang up my clothes is I don't get any value out of it. So I'm not.
Shut the fuck up, dude. That's the reason I don't wipe my ass because there's no value in it for me. It's just way faster. I save 0.2 seconds a day by just pulling up my pants. You see a stain? Don't look at that. Pulling up my pants with my poo-poo in it. And, you know, it saves me time. I'm an efficient cause and effect type of guy. So when Lisa has to come wipe my ass, it's not because I'm a boo-boo baby. It's because I need to go and make a YouTube video about the war that's coming.
I'm not going to spend time doing it. So the fact that it looks messy is irrelevant to me. I could not care less. So for me, if I know where it is and I could pick it up the second I need it, and it's the 7th shirt down on the bench on the left, literally it doesn't matter as long as I know where it's at.
So funny.
So,
Lisa,
but the collision is
that for you, mess equals anxiety. There is a lack of order that bothers you in a way that is physiological.
Well, there was that study that came out that basically said it causes like at least double, I think, cortisol levels in women than it does men when we actually see with our own eyes.
These studies are all fake. I'm convinced. They've just decided to say whatever they want. There's a study that proves what I just said.
Mess.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
how I feel.
And
like literally, I feel stressed. I can't focus. I can't concentrate.
So for the audience, I will say, on things like that, I've been willing to compromise, and I'll say, I'm happy to put it in a box. And just please don't move the box.
And then one day I
moved the box.
So that was a great solution until I messed up, in all honesty. Since day one that I met you, you were always messy. So we came up with the box idea, and you were very sweet. And I said, what if I just put all your crap in a box? And I put your box next to your bed. And that way, every trinket little thing that for some reason you want to bloody keep an empty box, you can put it in this big box. And then one day people were coming over, and so I moved your box. I'm sorry.
I'm the leader of this family. I'm the leader of this couple, and I'm not going to be married to a man. I'm a leader naturally, and I respond to my brain receptors. My wife moved my box with my trinkets in it, and my clothes were on the bench, and I couldn't put them up because I just don't have time in my day. And my wife, Lisa, moved my box, and I couldn't find my trinkets. Tara was like, what, are you talking to me? No. Yes, always. And so then I just get really sad, and I said, divorce, divorce. She's apologizing for moving his trash out of the way.
But in all honesty, you were mad. And I get it.
Yeah.
And I get it. Because we'd come to this beautiful compromise. I basically got, you got a box. And then I do think that was a little cheeky and a little disrespectful to move your box. And obviously in hindsight, I know.
Get a grip, Lisa. It was not rude to move his box of shit out of the way in your home. Gain a backbone, please. Please. Like you like about Tom, do it to yourself. It's ridiculous. You have nothing to apologize for. My God.
Now.
Here's the thing. It's so important because, I know how we're giving people a window into our relationship, but if we actually want to be useful to people, they need to understand that the number of problems that you make go away in my life are legion. Oh. So whether it's, I don't have to think about food just shows up. Again, we're very fortunate, but I don't have to think about it. I will often refer to my cupboard as a magic cupboard because it simply is always full of all the things that I want. And if there's something that I want to try new or whatever, I just tell you and you make it go away. So it would be a lie to say there isn't still friction over I just do not care about anything other than efficiency when it comes to where I put things. And it really bothers you.
How does not hanging up your clothes make you more efficient? It actually doesn't. It actually would not. It doesn't even make sense what you're saying.
And so we do try to compromise. I get it, especially as somebody that has a high anxiety response. I'm not trying to trigger you. I don't go out of my way to trigger you. So we try to confine things. But it has been interesting to realize there are certain things that you just, either one of us, the general you, will hit and be like, yeah, I can't get over this one.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a problem until the end of time. And so.
Like me leaving the knives up.
Yeah, I'll never understand that. That's so wild. You've had stitches. You've had stitches. And you still leave knives facing up. Now we have weird knives that like balance perfectly on their back, but like I can spot that across the room. And I will literally come behind you and just be like, turn it sideways. Every time I'm like, what is she doing?
Sorry, there is interrupting.
No, not at all. That's perfect. It is perfect. So we both have our little
Don't apologize for laughing.
things that for whatever reason, like we have such a strong response, we can't not feel that thing. And so we're eternally going to do that thing that way. And that's why I always think about our marriage on balance. So
For you.
Anybody watching this should assume we have points of friction. There are things we argue about 100%, but on balance, we're emotional.
These listicles, keys to a healthy relationship. Poop in your pants. Never hang your clothes. Yell at your wife for when she moves your trash box. Okay, cool.
Stable, we communicate well, we're able to get over the little things. And so when you have a dust up and you end up going, this is over a box, like in the end, you can brush it off because you're like, well, the number of things that we get right that make me feel the way I want to feel, that are encouraging and loving and it's like overwhelming in one category. And yes, there are these minor things over here, but like in the grand scheme of things, they're pretty minor. And that would be my advice to people. Like, don't aim for perfect, aim for a ridiculous overabundance on the positive side.
That's what I was going to say. I think that what ends up happening over time when couples have been together for so long, that starts to dwindle. And it almost like goes on to the other side. So the abundance starts to dwindle. You make all these sacrifices, that goes down, and then the resentment just builds and builds. And so you've now got the scales tipped on the opposite direction. And one of the things I'd like to add to what you said, because it was so on point, is that we do that, but we do it regularly. Because again, we've been together now for 25 years. I plan for us to be together again for another at least 25 years till literally we take our last breath.
I bought you that 50-year card. I've got to make good on it.
You did. On our first wedding anniversary, you bought me a card. This is happy 50th anniversary. So
he can't read. He thought it said first. He's illiterate.
I have dyslexia so bad.
That's how we think about it. In order to get there, it means that you are going to change. And so the last point I'd like to make with this is we'd already established with the chores and, okay, who's going to clean, who's going to cook, who's going to feed the dogs, like literally logistically. I never want to be one of those women, babe, that's complaining on the video that my husband doesn't do anything and blah, blah, blah. The reason why we've never gotten there is because we have all these discussions and it's like
her husband hasn't done anything, but she's just not going to make a video about it. So that solves the problem.
Line item, right? All right, what do you do? Who does this? Who does that? And we've so refined it. The problem though is often that's like then set in stone. And it's like, now this is like it for the rest of our lives. And so the fact that I was able to go from a stay-at-home wife to your business partner was one transition, and us talking about chores and things like that. But that last transition actually was fairly recently, where I can't remember who we were interviewing. We were interviewing the same relationship expert. And you had heard them talk about something about, as a woman, she likes to feed her man. And you realized, actually, this is something I now miss. That was then something that you came to me and spoke to me about.
God.
And I love you so much.
He's red-pilled. He's like, I actually want my wife to serve me. I've changed my mind.
For that, because that gave me the opportunity to then show up for you. If you hadn't have said anything, if you hadn't have told me that, you would have stayed quiet and I wouldn't have been able to show up for you. So I want to just applaud the thing that you did. That was so important. If anyone else can do it at home now, like this can literally change our relationship. Go to them with grace, politely request what you'd like, and be specific. So you said to me, I really want you to preempt my needs. And I was like, well, what does that mean? You said,
I want you to preempt my needs? Baby, I'm wearing the Daddy Yankee watch. Preempt my needs, bitch. That's what I would have said if I was Lisa.
With food, like, yes, I've got your cupboard full of snacks, but like lunch, breakfast, things like that I no longer do.
I'm a baby. I need my bottle. Okay, sorry.
Or think about or take care of. You said every so often, if you thought about me, it would make me feel good. I said, okay, but what do you mean? Do I have to actually cook it for you?
Yeah.
Or can I
got so specific.
I got so
brilliant. It was brilliant.
Because here's what I'm thinking. You're saying, I've asked for it. I think I'm showing up and I'm not actually showing up.
Right.
And so here I am 3 months going, I'm such a great
Hire a chef. Jeez.
wife. He told me he wants something. I've done it. And you're over there going, I've told her. And for 3 months, literally, she hasn't moved a muscle.
Right.
So-
or she's just ordering me food, but she's not making it.
Yes. So I said to you, do you actually need me to make it? And you're like, no. And I said, so I can order it from Postmates? You said, yes. I was like, great. But then I said, do you need me to plate it for you? Or can I leave it at the front door in a bag? And you were like, well, no, at the front door, I won't really know it's there. So I just get in my own zone, so I won't know. If you can put it in this spot, then that'll be great. And now,
I do not give a fuck.
Life can be better. If you have hundreds of millions of dollars, which allegedly this couple does, why do you put yourself in this position where I'm bringing you your food, my master. Oh, can I put it in the spot next to your box with all of your materials? And I put up your clothes while you're travel. Live for those who can't. For us who are poor, not in a giant mansion. Go enjoy your life. Live to your fullest. Divorce this fool, Lisa, please. For the love of God. You can do more. I've seen your artwork. You're very talented. Buy an art studio. Teach kids. Spread your wings and fly. Fly, Lisa, fly. You're killing me with this. You're killing me softly with Tom's song of his inability to. He's in his room losing millions of dollars on crypto. Okay, that's what he's doing. You don't need to buy him Postmates, for the love.
since then, I don't do it every day, but when I know you've got a busy day, I figure it out, I get your food and I put it in the spot. The reason why that story was so important is we went granular. And we went granular 25 years into our relationship because it was a new thing that we were thinking and doing and adjusting to.
You were so gangster the other day.
Oh, what did
Oh, people need to understand. People need to understand. Like, this is one of those times where I just feel so appreciated and understood. So I had an early live and you knew I had a stack day. And literally, as I'm thinking to myself, when am I going to have time to make food? Like, I'm going to end up just being starving today. That
Can he not? Isn't he like a tech genius, allegedly? You can't get on DoorDash yourself? I'm gonna starve. Shut up. Oh my
like,
God.
it's hanging over my head like a thought
You ever
bubble.
heard of a restaurant before?
And you come with a plate of food and we're just like, here, like, you know, I know you got a crazy day today, so I made you breakfast. And I was like, oh, like, it was so perfect.
God.
And you'll do that every now and then.
God,
And
men have it so easy. Men have it so fucking easy, I'm telling you. I hate it.
because it's, you
God.
do it on a day.
Can you imagine if a woman said, I want you, my husband, to think about when I might be hungry and to preemptively bring me meals when I'm busy raising our kids? You know how the outrage that man would have, and then everyone that heard that story would have? It would be insane. But this is somehow a heartwarming story when the genders are reversed. It's crazy. We're almost done.
When it's needed and it isn't even just, random would be extraordinary. But when it's like, not only is it just like, what a surprise, but it's on a day where I actually need it, whoa, that goes a long way.
Thank you.
She has no other talents. He's like, I love my wife. The things I love about her is that she serves me food. That's not love, dude.
See that I felt good about doing that as well. I will always show up for my hubby. That was because you had articulated. And like these little nuances and everything we've really
But by the way, articulated well over a year ago. Yeah. So this was not like I asked on Monday and you delivered on Tuesday. This is like you've been doing it as a matter of course since then.
Because you also do that. And that's the thing, like in relationships, it has to be both ways. And so if you...
She has to like beg him to do anything. And he literally just goes, this is what I want, or I'm tapping out. Tap, tap, tap out.
Always just taking, that would be a big problem in our relationship because I would feel like it was just one-sided, but it's not. So I think that is super important to articulate, be upfront, be honest, and as your partner, be receptive to it. And if people were able to receive their partner with everything that we've spoken about today, with all their differences, you can still have a freaking beautiful relationship. It's not easy, right? We have worked very hard at it. So,
well said.
Well said. I wasn't listening, but I'm sure it was
with
great.
gender roles, do you think it could have ever worked if I stayed masculine?
Well, I think you do have a temperament that leans masculine, and I think that that's hugely beneficial. And I thank my lucky stars. Had you stayed hard, had you decided, no, I'm going to be the one to lead, and I am not going to show deference to your leadership, that's not sustainable.
All right, I now have community.
All right, let's move on. Amazing pivot.
Question.
She's like, I'm gonna now raise my voice and smile and add a little lip gloss, and now I'm going to cook you dinner because that's what he wants from me.
It was a poll that was done on my YouTube live. Guys, if anyone at home, if you want to come and join me live, I do it
Men
every
and women
Thursday.
alike.
Yeah, I do it every Thursday, so come and join me. But I do a poll, and they get to select a question, or they get to ask a question that gets selected. So this is a question that won. It is from Charlotte63T7Q. What is your trick for staying so in love after all of these years?
Lisa's trick is give up all of yourself, give up everything you've ever wanted, release any personality and truth that you once knew, and lay it out for your man's clothes. Trade it all for that. His is do whatever the fuck I want.
Yes.
Love is biology that is reinforced through behavior. I know that isn't sexy, but hold on. But people actually want to understand. Yeah. So this is me going, oh my gosh, you are what you repeat. The brain will justify any emotion that you do. So if you go, oh my God, I love seeing my wife, this is incredible, and you do that over and over and over, your brain goes, whoa, it must really be a big deal when my wife walks in. Because I understood that early.
So romantic. Yeah, it's really convincing me that they're really in love. I convince myself every day that I love my wife. If I tell myself 100 times a day and I watch porn 50, that means I love my wife more. I'm a good man because I make money, but I don't know how to put up my clothes because I'm not funny. Okay, sorry.
I was like, every time I think something positive about you, not only am I going to say it, I'm going to say it at the amplitude that I feel it, because I want to reinforce this. I want the level of enthusiasm that I feel when you just walk into a room to be hardwired in my brain. Not faking anything. I'm reinforcing what's already there. And I just got in the habit of reinforce, so that at a physiological level, merely being surprised with you being in a room, I get excited and I get happy to see you because
God, what a great insight. Lisa's trick is pick a non-traditional, non-feminine hairstyle so you can avoid challenging subservience in every other aspect of your life. Same thing with wearing a daddy 2.0 watch that's so big that it doesn't fit on your wrist. She's screaming internally. Her body is screaming, let me out, let me be free, help, help. And yet she cuts it off and says, I must live in this marriage because my husband is conducting an experiment and I believe in science.
reinforced that so much. I made a decision very early in our relationship that instead of criticizing you, I'd compliment you. So anytime criticism popped into my mind, I'd be like, what's something that I'm impressed by? Had to be real. I'd never fake it, but I would go, oh, like thank her for this, that, or the other. And so constantly recognizing, oh, if every time I have a negative impulse, I give into it, then that's going to be the bright shining star in my head. If it's the positive things, then those are going to be the things that are...
He's hacked love. He's hacked marriage. He's so cool.
At the forefront of my mind. And then all the things that we've talked about, keeping our sex life going. Incredibly important. And you have always felt incredibly strongly that we not become roommates. And when you were sick, that was like a big thing for you. You're like, I don't want to feel like we're roommates. And so
because she felt like he's gonna leave her because he only loves her when she's providing for him. So she probably freaked out and was like, I'm about to lose this rich guy in my life who I've dedicated my entire personality to, and I better step up.
Finding ways to still keep a sexual spark, all that stuff was really important. The communication, wanting each other to win, like establishing a dynamic that works for both of us, lifting each other up, being there when the other person falls. Like, I mean, there's so many things that keep that feeling of love alive. But if I really, really had to boil it down to one thing, it'd be that first thing. It's what flame are you going to fan? Are you going to fan the flame of your frustration, or are you going to do everything you can to put that one out? Communicate, get over it, move forward. But really, really, I need to extinguish that flame. And then the positive feelings, you're just like pouring gasoline on it, fanning it. And it is such one of the most...
Literally gaslight yourself is what he's saying to do.
Most important things in my life is understanding whatever level of enthusiasm I repeat, my brain will hardwire. And boy, has that paid off.
What?
Baby.
Inagamo.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I understand your audience is going to freak out in the first like 12 minutes, but if they stuck through it after
If they stuck through it, they're vomiting right now.
that.
Well, I love you. Thank you so much for
love you
doing
right
this.
back. Of course.
You've always been willing to show up for me, even if it was hard.
Always.
How?
Guys, this man right here is my favorite human in the whole freaking wide world. I do so much content on the manipulative man because the man before him was exactly that. And if I didn't leave his dumb ass to then be able to meet the most amazing man of my dreams, like that wouldn't have happened.
You're living in a dream. Westworld, you're in a dream. He is also a manipulative man. He is just more covert about it. He is actually deeply manipulative, and you could do more in your life, Lisa, and I believe in you, and one day you will be released from this prison. I believe in you. Godspeed.
And so today I really wanted to bring him on to talk about the hard things because it wasn't easy. Oh my God, my anxiety was bloody through the roof. But it was so
talking to your husband makes your anxiety go through the roof. Red flag.
important for me to bring on because I really want to talk about the actual things that relationships go through.
This is just stupid.
Actual hardship, the hard conversations, the push, the pull. I really believe that you can come through it. And hopefully today, my brave husband for showing up really helped us be able to navigate what that looks like. So guys, please, I really urge that you work through your relationship communication. And please, please do follow me. Smash that follow button if you're not already. And until next time, be the hero of your own life. Peace. If you want to understand.
Wow, that was hard to watch. That was really difficult for me to get through. And it was way too political in the beginning. I didn't enjoy that, and I never want to do it again. Lisa, please be my friend. Hey! Okay. I'll be back next week. I have to submit, this is an update if you were here last week and you made it to the end. I have to submit my first short story ever to my fiction writing class. I'm in a I'm in an intro to fiction writing class right now, okay? Next week is the last week. I have to submit my materials by Sunday night. I'm very nervous. I have 1 paragraph written. I need up to 15 pages. Double spaced though, or 1.5 spaced. So I have a lot of work to do. I don't even know if the paragraph I've written is the one I want to go with. Currently, it's about a guru. And I think maybe that's too much on the nose. But maybe you guys will enjoy it and maybe I could share it. Or maybe I'll just do something completely different. I don't know. I should get out of my comfort zone. And all the other people who have gone so far in the class have shared their work, have been very good. And it's so tempting to want to take like what they've done and go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. But you gotta keep your original ideas. So I'm gonna try to put my art out there, and it's gonna suck probably, most likely. But I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna show up for my life. I'm gonna show up. Ooh, I can't wait to hang a guy's clothes. This inspired me to be a hot woman. This inspired me to be a woman who shakes her ass while she hangs up her husband's clothes. I don't know what's happening right now. Okay. It's time for my song. I got a new song to sing. If you'd like to get your name sung in a song, your chance is now. Your chance is approaching and has always been there for you. Become the person who you were meant to be. And that person is a member of the Kia's World membership program via YouTube. If you are called and you are made for more in this life, please join the Gold Straight Up Club. Then I will sing your name in a song. Well, and like a harmonious melody will appear. All right, and I have to add 2 names, and I will do that. That came through recently, so thank you for joining.
There's literally no place in the world than I would rather be than right here with you.
Oh, and thank you to Peace Train Jump. Peace Train Jump. PTJ in the house.
Mic drop, homie.
And also,
I need attention. I need help.
I am not problematic.
I'm oblivious to a lot of things.
Accurate. Okay, time to sing. Bye. Hey. I'm gonna add the names as we go. As we go. Or maybe it's only one more. I am gonna add it right now. This is chill hop music coming at you from the studio of my home. Starry nights in the sky, you shine so bright. Every time I saw you in the chat earlier, hello, how's it going? You're always welcome here. Nicole Campbell, you make me wanna gamble like in the ads of the Super Bowl, because that's what I was taught to do based on watching those commercials. Hey Konzo, have you ever seen a commercial before in your life, in your dreams? What do they mean? I don't know. When we go to sleep, where do we go? Alaska blue tundra. It was cold where you live, and it was cold where I live too. Isn't that cool? Carasoto. I don't know if you know though how it is for people who live in cold climates. I don't know where you reside, Lily Massey. I don't know where you live either. And besides, it doesn't matter where you live, it matters where you live. Don't job your love, work your job. That's a quote for real, don't question me. Rabba Gabor.
I saw you in the chat as well. You were so cool as hell. You make my heart swell. Hey, baby. Rebel and Fuente. Oh, God. That song cuts off pretty abruptly. Rebel at Fuentes. That caught me off guard. So sorry. I leave Madison. Do you stay at the Radisson when you go on vacation? Probably. Merv Beltwoo. What about you? I have quite an accent, but it will not last when I start singing to Hannah. I wanna eat a banana, but I ate them all this week. I think that was pretty peak of me. Ate my vegetables and fruities. Thanks to my wife who feeds me intravenously. Shan 1989. Is that because of the Taylor Swift song? Or were you born in 1989? If so, are you 36? That's pretty rad. And Olive Harper, do you like playing with sticks on a drum set? Boom, 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 boom. Hell yeah. Maya Sloan, can I borrow some money? Kinda like a loan, but one I don't have to pay you back. Can I get $100? Or I'll let you smack it. Kim Possible 11. I just see the number 7, 'cause you're so lucky to me. You're my good luck charm. Bone Palace Ballet 94. I don't mean you no harm. And you have 2 arms, I presume. Amy LX8RN, how about you? How many arms do you have? If you have more than 2, that's pretty rad. HRDEMAIO. Heard of Mayo. I heard of you. Oh my oh. Not oh my God. Oh my Lord. I'm praying for you, because that's what I do. Taro says, meow. Meow. Good night, y'all.